All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage on KRC at the Iowa Speedway, as this is the running of the HyVee Perks, 250 short track racing. Saturday afternoon, not a Saturday night, but a Saturday afternoon. Track's going to be slick, as we saw in both Cup and Xfinity Series practice earlier today, at least for ourselves here on KRC, bringing you the full coverage of practice qualifying for the Cup Series. But the Xfinity Series, a lot of the same thing. Treacherous track conditions, despite the drop in temperature from one year to the next. This is going to be a very challenging racetrack. Obviously, we have a freshly repaved set of corners on the racetrack, the grip strip, if you will, which will be mentioned throughout the course of today and both tomorrow's coverages of our weekend events. But the way to get into the corner, you got to drive through the bumps at some point to turn the car in, get to the apex, where then the grip strip will take over. There is maybe not as much grip on that grip strip as what we had a season ago, which was the first year of the freshly repaved Iowa Speedway in the corners. So the mix of the old asphalt, the new asphalt, it's definitely made for some interesting racing both last season, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of the same things and wild things happen here this weekend as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in for this afternoon's NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage. Appreciate those that tuned in during our live commentary coverage of NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying, which wrapped up not that long ago. For some late pre-race updates, Kim Kuhn is caught up with Ross Chastain, and we'll get the national anthem in here shortly.
Do you have what it takes to find victory lane, though?
I think so, Kim. I think Corey Shea brought us a number 9 acceptance Chevy that can go compete for it. We're not perfect by any means, but this track is so disconnected from the straightaway grip on the old asphalt into the Frankenstein track we've got now with the repave in the corners. So I think that for us, I've got to go execute. And I know it sounds silly sometimes, but these Xfinity races just play out different. There's not as much strategy. We will have a set for the end and trying to make that call right. And then the pit stop adjustments. These cars are so different than the Cup cars. So I've led Nice Motorsports with the truck team, and then this 9 team down the wrong path this year, which makes me question a lot of things. So it's I hope to just rely on Corey today and let him lead this team because he's so good at it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Last weekend, they got their 100th at Indy with Connor Zilic, Ross Chastain, Dylan hoping to get their 101st here at Iowa.
Well, and it could come from Sammy Smith as well, another JRM driver and an Iowa native. So today didn't start off quite as well as you'd hope with a little incident in qualifying. So got to go to the back today. What is going to be the challenge and difficulty of passing all these cars, and then how do you do it?
Yeah, Dylan. I just made a touch of a mistake in qualifying and got in the wall a little bit, and luckily I got a great group at JRN. We got them back together. I thought in practice we had a really fast TMC Chevrolet. I think it's going to take patience, but it's going to be tough to pass today. Track position is going to be important, so good thing we got a good pit crew, and we're going to charge to the front and hope to put on a show.
All right, the car looks awesome. He's got the TMC colors on it as well this weekend. Sammy Smith with a little bit of work to do in the 8 car today.
Looking forward to watching both those drivers get in this race today. I loved what Ross Chastain.
I do believe it's a remote location for the CW broadcast today for Iowa, so they're not going to actually be at the track. They're going to be in their studio headquarters there in Charlotte, North Carolina, with, I'm sure, Jamie McMurray, Parker Klickerman, and Adam Alexander on the call. Jesse Love going to be the pole sitter for today's race. Carson Hocevar, one of the Cup regulars in the field. Big story for him, taking over for the 11 of Josh Williams. Williams will not be racing out the rest of his contract for this season with Colleague Racing. He was let go earlier in the week. And Austin Dillon going to be filling in for the Austin Hill, who is not at the racetrack this weekend after suspension from an on-track incident at Indianapolis Motor Speedway a week ago. Ross Chastain, who you heard from moments ago, another one of the Cup regulars in the field today. He'll be driving the 9 for Junior Motorsports, as he's done several times on other ovals earlier in the season. We've seen Shane Van Gisbergen and Daniel Suarez win in that number 9 so far this year, so Chastain trying to be the third. Corey Day going to be back in the Xfinity Series. It's been a while since we've seen him on the Xfinity side of things, but he's got back-to-back top 10 finishes in his last 2 truck starts, so things starting to click on the asphalt side of things. We'll see how the young phenom does. Those are some of the top stories entering today's race. Connor Zilic, of course, trying to go for 4 wins in a row, maybe 3 straight on ovals. Can he get his first short track win is the next kind of tick off of that bucket list in his asphalt/oval racing career. For more of the pre-race Here is CW Sports' broadcast.
And so for the gift of this beautiful day, for the gift of family and friends and fans who support, for the gift of this venue and those who work and are volunteer to make this event happen, for the gift of the teammates and crew members and team owners and sponsors who support. And God, thank you for the gifts, that skills and abilities to do what we love to do. God, for all these gifts, we give you thanks. And now we pray, Lord, for protection over these drivers as they race today. As they compete, may their competition be both fierce and respectful. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from the Iowa National Guard, Sergeant Laura Che.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and rockets clear, the balls bursting, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the and the hope of parade.
North Corral has supported our veterans for over 2 decades.
All right, we'll go through the starting lineup for today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Iowa Speedway. Short track racing on a 7/10 mile oval. Jesse Love on the pole this weekend. He is, of course, the only Xfinity Series regular that is driving an RCR this weekend with the suspension to his teammate Austin Hill. Love is fourth in the regular season point standings coming in. William Sawalich on the front row, one of his better qualifying efforts of the season. We've seen him qualify well several times this year. Race finishes have gotten a lot better for that 18 team in recent weeks, so looking to keep the momentum riding high. In row 2 will be Carson Hocevar, will be making his first Xfinity start of the season, driving for the replacement of Josh Williams. His colleague Racing had let him go earlier in the week. They'll have a rotating cast to drive that 11 car for the rest of the season. Hocevar's time to shine this week. Connor Zilic coming off a win at Indianapolis last week, a win the week before that, and a win the week before that. He's got 5 on the season, 3 in a row, trying to go for 4 in a row. That's a month straight worth of wins if he can go to victory lane yet again here today. That's going to be one of the top stories to follow this afternoon. Sam Mayer and Austin Dillon will make up row number 3. Dillon filling in for Austin Hill, who was suspended last weekend after a non-track incident with Eric Almirola at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Part of fine and suspensions for Hill. He will be back in the car, though, next weekend. Ryan Sieg, Carson Kvapil will make up row number 4, and row 5, rounding out the top 10, will be Sammy Smith and Daniel Dye. In row number 6, Ross Chastain, another one of the Cup regulars in the field today. Brandon Jones on the outside of that row at JGR. Matt DiBenedetto, Sheldon Creed will make up row 7. My pick to win the race today, Justin Allgaier inside of row 8, along with Justin Bonsignor, making his 3rd Xfinity start of the season. Harrison Burton with Corey Day in row number 4. Mentioned already, Day a couple of starts this year on the Xfinity side. Haven't seen him in an Xfinity car in a minute. Double duty this weekend for Day. He'll be racing in Knoxville in the 360 Nationals for the World of Outlaws this weekend. Next week, and obviously the big dance. So a big month to start things out for Corey Day in the state of Iowa. In row number 10 will be Anthony Alfredo along with Dean Thompson. Thompson striking upwards in the point standings. He's now in the 15th spot. He is within 1 race of the cut line. So we'll see how Thompson performs today. That'll be another driver to kind of keep an eye out on. We'll touch more on the playoffs in a second. Blaine Perkins with Brendan Poole will line up in row 11. Row 12 for Thomas Annunziata and Kyle Sieg. Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez in row 13. Row 14 for Jeremy Clements, Parker Retzlaff. Row 15 will be Josh Bilicki, Garrett Smithley. Mason Massey, Jeb Burton starting deep in the field in row number 16. Row 17 for Joey Gase and Ryan Ellis. Behind them in row 18, Patrick Emmerling and Taylor Gray. Tyler Tomasi, Dawson Cram will round out the end of the field in row 19. 38 cars on the starting grid for today's Xfinity race of full field. 250 laps are scheduled distance. Stage 1 and Stage 2 will be 60 laps in length, while our final stage will be just over the second half of the race, which will spawn 130 laps. So they will not have to pit for fuel or tire purposes necessarily in the first stage if we went green. If there's any cautions, I'm sure we will see some pit stops with how much tire wear that this track is going to take on. Even with the fresh pavement in the corners, they have to run over the old asphalt on a majority of the racetrack. Corner entry specifically, going to see quite a bit of fall off this afternoon. Emogene Blevins, Bones Does, Terry Lewis, Bam Hall, AJF, JoJo. Who else we have here? Shahir Gaming and Entertainment, and many others. Thank you for tuning in. Michael Yeo, welcome to the stream. Sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal will be 50 for today's stream. We did get there during our first stream of the day for practice and qualifying coverage for the Cup side. Time for the Xfinity side. And we'll take a look at those point standings entering this weekend. The Xfinity Series has a couple more races left in the regular season to that of the Cup side because they've had a couple of extra off weeks so far this year. So through 21 races, we have 5 races to go in the regular season entering today. Justin Allgaier has just a 21-point lead over Connor Zilic, and Zilic missed a race earlier this season at Texas Motor Speedway where Kyle Larson won in that 88 car. So if you look at the owner standings, the 88 team's actually 28 points ahead of the 7 for the owner's title in the regular season championship. But in the driver's standings for the regular season title, it's Allgaier out ahead by 21 over Zilic, his teammate. Minus 48 back is Sam Mayer having a quietly good season on consistency. 12 top 10s, 9 top 5s this year for Mayer. Only 94 laps led, but he's getting good finishes, including last week. Had another good one at Indianapolis with a top 5. Jesse Love, I mentioned moments ago, who is on the pole for the race today, is 4th in the regular season title fight, minus 96. Austin Hill missing this week, minus 100, had a points penalty, and I think going to be missing out on some more points today with missing the race. So I'd pretty much say the top 3 are the only ones that have a shot at the regular season title, which is insane because Justin Allgaier looked like he had this thing under wraps there for a while. He had over a 90-point lead over Sam Mayer in second. Now Zilic has won 3 races in a row. He's up to second. And just like that, we've got a regular season title fight between 3 drivers. On the playoff standing side of things, 12 drivers qualified for the Xfinity Series playoff field. And again, we have 5 races left in the regular season entering today. The drivers locked into the playoffs with wins would include Connor Zilic, who has the most, having 5 on the season now, again, 3 in a row. Justin Allgaier sitting with 3 wins on the year, same for Austin Hill. 1 win apiece for Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, and Nick Sanchez. The 5 drivers above the cut line coming into today's race will be plus 193 for Sam Mayer, Carson Kvapil plus 78, Sheldon Creed plus 67, plus 59 for Taylor Gray, and Jeb Burton plus 10 over his cousin, Harrison Burton. Not only Harrison Burton, the first driver out, minus 10, but also pretty tight around that cut line. Ryan Sieg, who has back-to-back top 10s, including a top 5 2 weeks ago at Dover. Sieg is minus 20 points. Minus 57 for Dean Thompson, who I mentioned in the starting grid rundown, as he is within 1 race worth of points of that cutoff line on Jeb Burton. And Burton starts 32nd today, so this could be a huge day for those drivers on the outside of the cut line looking in to try to score some much-needed points to get back into the fight to make the postseason here in a few more weeks. Christian Eckes minus 69, minus 78 for Daniel Dyer. Also not out of it mathematically by any means, though they are just over 1 full race worth of points out of the final cut line spot. Alrighty. Engines have already fired. They should be going green here shortly. I'd imagine when the CW comes back from their commercial break that we will have cars on the track. We'll just be a couple parade laps away from the drop of the green flag to get this NASCAR Xfinity Series HyVee Perks 250 underway. We'll take a quick break here while we're waiting the green flag. You're listening live for our full flag-to-flag coverage of the race today on KRC. Point standings will be scrolling across the top of the screen throughout the course of today's coverage. That will be all the points, obviously, from coming into the race today. I'm not going to be updating that as the race progresses. Yeah, I'm taking Justin Allgaier for the win today. I like him on these racetracks where there are a lot of tire fall off. A lot of the veteran drivers I tend to lean on, even on the Cup Series side of things. You go to tracks like this, I like to take guys like Denny Hamlin a lot. I'm sure he'll be pretty good again tomorrow. Brad Keselowski's had some good runs, even the next gen car at, say, like a Richmond, or here at Iowa Speedway last season, he had a good run. So I do think for today's race, Justin Allgaier is going to be the one to beat for that reason. There being 3 Cup Series regulars in the field, I definitely think the competition will be stacked today. We don't usually see this many Cup regulars in the field at once on a random Iowa race weekend like we do this year. But again, with the 21 suspension for Austin Hill, and then not 21 race suspension, but the 21 team, and Austin Hill being suspended from driving that car this week opened up a ride. And then obviously Josh Williams getting released earlier in the week by Call League. Just kind of randomly had a couple spots open up, and Cup regulars filling in the void for those drivers. Connor Zilic is hot. He's proven he can win on ovals, but he has yet to get a short track win. He's only had a couple of them so far this season. He hasn't gone to the same short track more than once. So he'll definitely have a bit of a learning curve yet again today in his young stock car racing career. Zilic rolls off 4th, though, so a good qualifying effort. He was pretty sporty in practice this morning as well. Ethan Wickham, sorry. I butchered your name there. Appreciate you tuning in. I don't know who that is. It might be a made-up name. I don't know. But, we got a Burt fan in the chat. A little surprised Larson isn't racing today. Well, he's in Knoxville for this weekend. Tonight specifically. As soon as this race comes to an end, the 360's going to be in their main show for the weekend for the Knoxville Nationals. And I know Larson was supposed to run that. Bell, I believe, raced earlier in the week, but not going to be running the weekend races for Friday, Saturday. Like Sammy Smith. Yeah, he's starting deep in the field. Apparently he had an issue on his qualifying lap, got loose off turn 4, kind of tail whipped the right rear corner panel up against the wall. He's still in his primary car, but because of the adjustments made post-qualifying inspection to the race car, he's having to drop to the back for the start. So again, Sammy Smith will bring up the rear of the field. You have to hear an interview from him in the pre-race. I usually have a pre-race for the Xfinity Series, but the race going live a little bit later because of the NASCAR Cup Series practice session going maybe a bit longer with the Kyle Busch incident. Long, lengthy cleanup to that. Bill Stegman, thanks for tuning in. He's also taking Allgaier. Yeah, it's kind of coincidental that the NASCAR schedule has Iowa Speedway the week before the Knoxville Nationals end up going on, so kind of a cool prelude, I guess. A lot of drivers on the NASCAR ranks nowadays having some dirt racing backgrounds. Justin Allgaier in the field here today having a dirt racing background. Many more in the Cup Series side of things, like a Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. That list goes on and on. Alex Bowman. Ty Gibbs is starting to dabble in some dirt racing lately. Kyle Busch in recent years. Rick Richards, thanks for tuning in. Love to see one of the Burtons get into the playoffs. There's a very good probability they can both get in just with them being right around the cut line. It has been kind of fun to see them racing each other for these last few weeks. They've been flip-flopping back and forth between who's moving into 12th and who's falling out of it, and they've been pretty tight in the point standings amongst one another. Along with that, Ryan Sieg, couple good races in a row, and he's right in contention, so definitely looking like we could get an upset team in there, and that's because of Colleague Racing having a down year. All three of their cars are outside of the playoff line where we'd usually see them in, so this is definitely going to open up a possible underdog story. We usually get one in the Xfinity field just because of the amount of competitive cars not usually filling out the field as much. You could also argue JGR with William Sawalich having a down rookie season. He's 21st in points. So, yeah, there's some good teams that are looking like they're going to miss out. Field is getting the 1-to-go signal, so we will be going green this time by. Again, the race is on your local CW affiliate if you're wondering visually where you can watch this afternoon's race. But for commentary coverage, I'll be taking you most of the way home as usual in these live commentary streams. Be sure to hit the like button. Again, I know I mentioned it a lot in the course of the streams, but trying to get to that like goal on a more consistent basis. I feel like some weeks we smash it out of the park, and then other weeks we come nowhere close to it because I don't mention it enough. So definitely hit the like button. It helps these streams out a ton. Be sure to subscribe for more NASCAR content as well as we're on the road to 7K. So Jesse Love taking the outside of row 1 for this initial start. And it's going to be a slick racetrack today, and now the field is all doubled up for the first time. After having a full practice session in the late morning hours, qualifying proceeded. Cup Series rubbered in the track a little bit more after them. Saturday afternoon racing underway, short track style at Iowa Speedway. Jesse Love leads the field down into the first turn. William Sawalich, the rookie, on the inside of road number 1. Gets a bit loose as he's not able to keep up with Jesse Love by corner exit. Oh, boy, man, a couple cars getting loose. Last on the outside, Austin Dillon ends up throwing it deep into turns 3 and 4 and loses ground as well. A lot of moving around already. 1 lap completed. Jesse Love leads the first lap of the race. Connor Zilich from 4th starting spot already. Looking to the inside, and Austin Dillon is around. 2nd lap, Ryan Sieg spins as well. Dillon backs it into the outside wall subtly with the back of his race car. Should be able to continue on, but might have to burn up a set of tires already, which we know these Xfinity series usually on limited sets. And the same is probably going to be said for Ryan Sieg having that half spin as well, trying to miss the spinning 21. He might have gotten tagged from behind in the aftermath of what transpired in front of him.
I see Sieg. Oh, I just got loose right there on the bottom, slid up. Actually, Austin had given him a lot of room, but Ryan just trying to catch that car. Slight contact. I don't think there's any damage to either of those cars. Be curious to see what they do on tires. I don't know that they slid. I don't know. That'd be a decision they're going to have to make here.
Early caution in Iowa, and one of the players involved in that playoff bubble involved, Ryan Sieg. We're back in a moment on still.
So Ryan Sieg and Austin Dillon, who qualified in the top 10, both going to have to go to the tail end of the field and forfeit their good qualifying efforts from earlier today. And now they are going to maybe even be down a set of tires on top of that as well. No major damage on either car. They'll be able to continue in the race, but definitely not something you want to have this early in the going. Now, Connor Zilich did not lead a lap under green, but he was in front of Jesse Love at the last timing and scoring loop from when the caution came out. So Zilich will take over the lead, and under caution, we will have our first lead change of the race. Jesse Love in 2nd place and William Sawalich in 3rd. John Barber, thanks for tuning in. As Sieg over driving turns 1 and 2, a lot of cars were going wide on both ends of the racetrack that first lap, and the same thing happened on lap 2 for Ryan Sieg. Austin Dillon had quite a bit of room to the inside, trying to give extra space with the cars struggling for grip, and we saw a lot of moments in practice again earlier. It's going to be interesting to see especially with this Xfinity Series race yielding a lot more younger drivers than, say, at the Cup Series level, going to be more prone to making incidences. We tend to see a lot of cautions on short tracks in the Xfinity Series on a regular basis. So here we are, lap number 2 today, and we already have our first caution. Wayne Martin, thanks for tuning in. Definitely wishing Stuart Friesen a speedy recovery. Horrific accident he had the end of last weekend up in Canada, dirt racing, late models. As gnarly of a wreck as you're going to see. Was he able to come home yet? Or is he still in the hospital getting treated for his injuries? I know he's got a broken right leg. I'm not sure what bone in his right leg, but a broken right leg. And then he's also got a broken pelvis. He underwent surgery earlier in the week. Definitely going to be a lengthy recovery time for Friesen, but hopefully we can see him back in the NASCAR ranks here at some point, hopefully next season. And I don't think they've announced who is going to be filling in that 52 truck. Now, although he has qualified for the drivers' playoffs, I definitely don't think he's going to be back for the playoff start, let alone, I don't think he's going to be back the rest of the season. They only have 9 races left for the Xfinity, or for the Truck Series, excuse me. And that team is still qualified for the owner's playoffs. So although he cannot race for a championship, the owner's title is still up for grabs because he did have that win earlier this season at Michigan. So not home yet, had his surgeries. Yeah, that's tough. Bedridden in a hospital, never fun. Bedridden anywhere is not fun, but I think the hospital is probably the furthest bed you'd want to be in away from your own.
On the opening laps, the balance of these cars are going to be loose initially, and they'll build most likely tighter. Stinks for Austin. Austin had given that outside groove plenty.
You know, something I thought of at the beginning of this race is Connor Zilic qualified fourth, but just the benefits of being an even numbered car at the beginning when you don't have to choose and getting to start in that outside lane. The margins are so slim. Ryan Sieg, great in qualifying, but he's fifth. So he starts the race on the inside, and we know what challenges that can create. I don't want to make too much.
And I think that if you're Steve, you got to make good decisions, right? You get in that position, even if you have to give up a row or two, it's better than what's happened right there. So I'm not with you, Adam. I know what you're saying, but I just think, if you're in that position he's in, you need to capitalize on some stage points. You qualified well, even if you have to give up a little bit here in the opening lap, and that's the decision you have to make.
Let's go down to Kim.
Yeah, interesting watching the replay of that incident. It looked like the back end got out from under Sieg, but actually right before that, he said the car got tighter and tighter. After the incident, maybe some bigger problems. He said the motor felt like it was stumbling. And guys, I've never heard this. The team said too much fuel pressure. The engine running hot right now in the 39. He is one of the bubble guys looking for a good day. Another bubble guy also looking for a good day with maybe some early issues. Jeb Burton, we talked about how he was wrecking loose in practice. Well, has it gotten any better? Here's radio for the 27.
Yeah, it's not fair. I'm not wrecking right there. Found a crack and we welded it. Obviously complaining that he doesn't feel like it's been for his match manual today the best we can.
You heard them talk about that crack. That was a crack in the track bar they found after practice and qualifying. And to the team's point, they thought that was going to alleviate the issues. That car's still not to Jeb's liking, though.
All he can do is make the most of the day that he has. He's frustrated. He's been frustrated from the first lap on the racetrack, and it stinks. And everyone's been put in that position. But you just got to get it together, and they have to talk him off the cliff right now because he's got to get as many points as he can today. Huge.
All right, on to the restart here at Iowa Speedway following the lap 2 incident. Green flag is back in the air. Good launch out of the restart zone for Jesse Love on the inside of row 1. Connor Zilic took the outside lane for this restart. Jesse Love slips the bottom of the racetrack through the center of 1 and 2, and Zilic comes out with the lead on the other end. Sam Mayer will now strike for second place in turns 3 and 4 on the inside of Love. Love rounding that middle to upper line, which seemed to be the more preferred line in practice, at least for the Cup guys. I would assume that'll be the case here in the race as well, as a lot of guys trying to hook that white line on the inside, just not able to carry the mid-corner speed necessary on top of the grip level to be able to round out their corner exit in the back half of the turn the way they want to. Struggling for rear grip is going to be a story all day long, especially in the sun for today and tomorrow. It's not like we're going to be racing in the nighttime. Last year's race at Iowa Speedway for the Cup Series was that night. So that could lead into some of the other challenges as well. Zilic already out to about a 0.6 of a second lead over Love. Comment in the chat down below. You can vote in the poll, obviously, but in the chat, how many of you that took other, which is at 60% right now out of 57 votes, took Zilic specifically for the win? Do you think Connor Zilic is going to get 4 wins in a row? Last time by, Jesse Love just put down his fastest lap of the race on lap 12. And right back to Connor Zilic for the fastest lap at lap 13. 24.754 on the lap for Zilic. Tires haven't necessarily gotten to the fall off yet, despite the lack of grip level even in the early going. You don't want to slip those rear tires too much too early, because then you're really going to be paying for it even more on the back end of things if we get a long green flag run. Just don't know exactly how far the green flag runs are going to go. We know we're guaranteed a caution at lap 60, but that's still a long time to go on this surface on these tires. Burn them up in the first 20 to 30 laps of the run, and a lot of time can be lost in the second half of which. So the lap after Zilic set the fastest lap of the race, he topped that again with a 24.713. So even better on lap 13. Sam Mayer battling for third place with William Sawalich. Sawalich, who started on the front row. Jesse Love just put down the fastest lap of the race. So even still, we're seeing guys set their fastest laps of the race and getting more comfortable with the race cars. I'm quite surprised this deep into the run they're putting together their fastest laps. Now, we did have 6 laps under caution, so this is only 12 laps into the green flag stint, but I would not have expected something like that to be the case. And if this is going to be a track that for some reason we don't have as much tire fall off as what I was expecting, those kind of tracks have actually yielded in pretty well for Jesse Love so far this season. Remember, he was very competitive at Rockingham. Crossed the checkered flag first, but ended up getting DQ'd, obviously. But had a great run there. Texas, he had a great run earlier this season. Another track that's kind of like Iowa in the sense it's low grip, but not much tire fall off. We're back to Zilic setting the fastest time. Pretty entertaining to watch the 88 and the 2 trade fastest lap times of the race here in these early 20 laps of the event. Neither one of them are getting away from one another. One lap, Love is better than Zilic. The next lap, Zilic is better than Love. Still within about 0.6 of a second of one another. They're more than 2 seconds ahead of Mayer and Sawalich, as they continue to battle for third place. Carson Hocevar started in the 3rd spot, kind of drifted backwards a couple spots on the initial start as well as his last restart. He's sitting in 7th for the time being. Settled in a bit, just took him a few extra laps to do so. So Mayer has finally cleared Sawalich up off turn 2 the last lap. And that battle is probably going to be done unless Mayer makes a major mistake and allows for Sawalch to get right back underneath him again. Justin Allgaier, who was my pick to win the race today, started just outside the top 10. He is currently still outside the top 10 in 11th. As we track and monitor him. That brand sponsorship, I don't know where they're based out of specifically, but I would imagine Iowa, a big state for them. We know how big it is on the cornfield side of things, and they usually have some corn-inspired paint schemes in the past, so an important race here, sponsorship-wise, for the 7 team. 23 laps in, side-by-side commercial break right now in the CW. And Allgaier battling with Sheldon Creed for 10th. A couple cars going a lap down at the tail end of the field. Tyler Tomasi has fallen off the lead lap in the 35 car. Dawson Cram, after one lap, pulled into the garage area. He is still off the racetrack. Jeb Burton, who had a track bar issue earlier at the end of practice, tried to weld whatever broken piece back together they could, still having issues at the beginning of the race. He's last on the lead lap at 36 right now, so Jeb Burton just trying to fight on and hope for the best. Came in 10 points above the cut line. Couple drivers right there behind him, one of which Ryan Sieg, who could have been in a great spot with Burton starting deep in the field having his problems, but Sieg goes first spin, so he can't capitalize off of it. And next man up, we'll see if Harrison Burton can do that. Right now, Burton's having a good run in 8th. In the top 10 at the end of lap 27 is Connor Zilich out in front, Jesse Love in 2nd, Sam Mayer 3rd, William Sawalich 4th, Ross Chastain in 5th, Carson Kvapil 6th, Carson Hocevar 7th, Harrison Burton 8th, Daniel Dye 9th, and Justin Allgaier rounds out the top 10. Favorite wings from Golden Corral? We were talking about Golden Corral on the video game stream the other night. I've actually never eaten there before, so I can't say. But wasn't expecting that to pop up in the chat again. I think one of you guys ate there the other night or something, and that's why it popped up the first time. But here we are, man. Golden Corral, hot commodity. 1 second lead for Zilich. He's got 2.9 seconds over 3rd and about 3.8 seconds over 4th. Through these first 28 laps, we'll take a quick break here as we've had one caution halfway through stage 1. Listening live on KRC.
Looking for a cable news network which respects all Americans? Then you have a new home with News Nation. See why News Nation is news for all Americans. To find News Nation on your screen, go to newsnationnow.com. We had an early caution, but I would say if you're clicking laps off at Iowa, you can turn them quickly, and we're already halfway through the opening stage, and Connor Zilich putting cars a lap down, setting a fast pace in the 88.
Gosh, you just got to wonder when's it going to end with the 88. It's been amazing to watch him on so many different types of racetracks be able to go out and have the speed that he has. It's fun to watch, and it's hard to believe it's coming from a rookie.
I would say this, though. If you look, he's not totally driving away from Jesse Love. 0.7 of a second back is driver 2.
No, and the one thing about Jesse Love in practice, he ran a lot of laps, and he talked about how much he liked his car at the end of a run. So maybe we'll see him be able to run Connor back down, but I just got to think that Connor's up there pacing himself, Adam. You know what I mean? He got a little bit of lean. He's lapping some cars right now. Just don't overstep your car. Stay within the tires. Just run me some good laps here.
I've told this story a few times about Connor Zilich, but And he made a comment to the media after he won that race at Coda earlier this year that he just feels like he can learn in the early part of a race and then really apply his knowledge in the final stage. This weekend, he comes to a track where he's been. He's raced here. He competed last year and won the ARCA race. So that really helps put him, ahead of the game a little bit. And as we watch him left of your screen, right of your screen, the battle for six continues. Carson Quapple is there, and Carson Hocevar continues to have a good day in that 11.
Yeah, and I would just to pick up on Zilich. To me, the most impressive thing he's been able to do, what really has stuck out to me this year, is when he went to Pocono, had never been there. Gets a really short practice, is able to go out, has Dale Jr. on the pit box with him, an incredible thing. We then go to Indy last weekend, another track he's never been to, really hard racetrack in my opinion, and he was able to go out and get a win there. Had a little bit of luck last weekend, right? Like Larson takes out Allgaier, but he still was in the right position, and no one cares a year from now how you won the race. It's that you won the race, and here we are. You mentioned it. He's run this track before, and he was able to fire on Jesse Love the very first lap. The confidence that he has right now is higher than anyone else in the series.
The rookie class is outstanding. Leading the way, Connor Zilich. 54 at Taylor Gray. Impressive as well. They're 15th from the back today, Dylan.
Yeah, and we'll make this a Toyota driver update on Taylor Gray, who is challenging Christian Eckes for the 14th spot. If you'll notice, he's been primarily on the bottom groove of the racetrack, of course, as he moves about a lane off there as we start talking about it. There he goes back to the bottom. They ran the entirety of practice around that bottom groove, so they felt like that was going to be a big advantage for them early as everybody else moved up, but they would be able to kind of wrap the white line and pick off cars, but knew when they got to this range, inside the top 15, that the cars were going to get faster than they were racing around, and their progress might slow down, and then they were just going to have to find a way to get around these guys. So this will be a true test of how good the 54 car is, but Taylor has been impressive getting to that point here in the early going.
I love that mindset, Adam. Like that he and Ratcliffe got together and are like, look, we know the preferred groove is going to be up, a 1 lane, 2 lanes. We've got to make our car work on the bottom. I think that's a great mindset to have. There's just the speed's not there around the bottom. If you catch a car that's a simpler lap time as you, it's just really hard to pass. But I like that. It almost reminds me of the way Bristol races now, or once you get rolling around the top, you'll see guys with exceptional cars be able to make the passes on the bottom. But the top's still going to be the preferred lane. The big difference here is that it's so much further around the top in a place like Bristol than what it is the bottom, where here it's not that much different of distance.
Connor Zilich put Garrett Smithley a lap down in a 14. Smithley running in a 32nd position, and boy, climbed it pretty quickly there.
No, I think that was just a little bit of a misjudgment, maybe by both of them. And if you're going a lap down early in the race like this, you're going to fight a little harder than you do later on. And again, that second groove is just the preferred lane.
Now he puts Mason Massey a lap down, 45, his 31st for the board. Top 5 here: Zilich, Love, Mayer, Sawalha, Chastain. We got 20 to go, stage 1.
All right, 20 laps left in this opening stage. Connor Zilich's lead has dwindled just a bit. It's down to 0.7 of a second as Jesse Love tries to close in, as Zilich may be struggling a bit in lap traffic. Sam Mayer 3.1 seconds back in third. William Sawalha 3.4 seconds off the lead in fourth. And Ross Chastain now up to fifth, 3.8 seconds off the lead. So that is the top 5, the intervals amongst themselves and the race leader. 3 lead changes so far in these first 43 laps, just over 20 minutes in. A lot of action still to go. 250 laps on this 0.7 of a mile oval. Gonna lead for one of the longer Xfinity Series races of the season. Had that early caution at lap 2 involving Ryan Sieg and Austin Hill. Both of them are still in the race. And Ryan Sieg is recovered to 16th place, while Austin Dillon is trying to find him. I think I scrolled too far. 28th for Austin Dillon. Dillon did have quite a bit more damage than Ryan Sieg. He backed it up against the wall, plus whatever damage might have been to the left rear corner panel of the 21. I didn't think that there was too much damage there, but it's towards the tail end of the lead lap, so something definitely isn't handling right for him after qualifying in the first 3 rows, where Sieg, again, is back up to 16th after qualifying in the top 10, so he's made a great recovery. Lap. must-see matches for SummerSlam. Honestly, all of them. I'm excited for each and every one of them. I think the only one that's not catching my eye as much as the rest, or that I think isn't going to be maybe as entertaining, it still could be. It's the women's title match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill, but it could still be entertaining. But if that's potentially the worst match on the card, I think that goes to show it's going to be a pretty fun one. So it's working to the inside of the 31. Put him another lap down. That'd be Blaine Perkins. Not much separation between Austin Dillon and Connor Zilic. Kind of interested to see how hard Dillon's going to race the leader. Jesse Love still about 0.8 of a second off the lead. He tries to slip to the inside of the 31 next. These two are 4 seconds ahead of Sam Mayer in third. Ross Chastain during the commercial break was able to make a pass for fourth on William Sawalich. The last lap, Chastain ran a 25.542, still a few tenths off of Zilic's last lap time. Maybe catching a lap car in a not as good spot as the leader. Can restart with Chastain up there with the front runners, and could have a different story, of course, in the same equipment as that of the 88. Zilic driving these cars every weekend, obviously learning quick. Just such a talented young race car driver. And he just lapped Austin Dillon through that last corner. And we are down to just 26 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Ellis, the last of which, and I don't think he's going to stay on the lead lap to the end of the stage with still 9 laps left in stage 1.
Advantage for them later.
It could be, Adam, and it could force them to have to stay out at some point, you know, in the race with the cautions fall. So we'll have to see how that works out for Steve. But the good thing for them, they've been in that wreck. He still has the speed that he needs. I'd much rather be in his position than the 21s right now.
On board with Daniel Dye. This is the race to stop suicide onboard camera. And right now, Dye finds himself dying. Got a little bump here on the 25 of Harrison Burton. Steve, that he wants these stakes in this area.
They've been battling. I've been watching this for a while. They have been battling hard the whole time. Daniel Dye looked like he's been just a tick quicker. Harrison's car, I think, has fallen off a little bit more. He's having a tough time getting by Veneziano right here. Daniel Dye gave you just a little left hand. That's awesome, though. Moved him up out of the way. No harm, no foul.
Behind him is just an all-guy. The reigning champ, he's won here, and we haven't even said his name, and we're almost done with the opening stage.
Yeah, and just doesn't seem to have the speed today that we've seen out of the 7 car. Maybe if he can get some track position, Pullman can make a couple of adjustments on that stage break. But yeah, the 7 car just has not had the speed we've seen out of him on the ovals. We talked about this in the pre-race show. Typically, when we go to the ovals, the 7 is the car to beat no matter which oval we go to. That has kind of transitioned to the 88 the last few weeks.
So this is big for him because with Zilic leading and a chance to get 10 stage points, that regular season championship, only 21 points separating them coming in, it would get even huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to get, I mean, that could get washed away this weekend, right? I mean, there's a chance Zilic could lead as the points leader right now. It'd be huge.
Battle for third. Chastain in the 941. Sam Mayer, last year's winner. And he was so good last weekend in Indianapolis was Mayer.
Yeah, the 9 car looks really good to me on the long run. Watched him be pretty methodical. He passed Quavo earlier in the race, got by Sawalich. He's been really good on the long run. If those guys can have a decent pit stop right when we have this stage break, I think he's one of those guys that can give Zilic run for his money.
Yeah, he's been good every time he's been behind the wheel. In fact, when you look at that 9 car this year, they've delivered. Van Gisbergen's won. Daniel Suarez from the back in a backup car won in Mexico City. And Justin trying to do it today. And he picks up a spot here up to third as we hit 5 laps. Going to be 4 laps to go stage 1.
A lot of traffic right here in front of these guys. You see the 41 just trying to get a little bit of fresh air. Those 3 cars lined up on the outside, that's going to be a challenge for these 2 to get by because they're going to have to stay on the bottom for multiple laps in order to clear these guys.
And look at Sawalich. You know, he has a great qualifying run, and even though he started on the front row and he's fallen to fifth, this is what they need to do, is just stay in the game. And he's been so good lately. 3 consecutive top 10 finishes, and his confidence is just swelling right now.
Well, for all the bad luck, they got that all out of the way early on in the season, Adam, and he's done a great job. There's a lot of hype around William coming into this year, and that was frustrating, I know, when it seemed like nothing was going their way. But they had not really raced well. They qualified well. He's done a really nice job in the race of staying out of trouble, which has been key. And he's fast. He's had speed every single weekend.
And I give credit to the guy you see here, Jeff Bendering, his signal caller, the crew chief, who's really done an outstanding job in recent years working with young drivers. Couple of laps to go. Stage 1, 4 rookies in the top 10. We talk about Sawalich. Carson Quapple is there racing with him, trying to get to the top 5. It is big for Quapple. He has a huge advantage over the cut line, but you don't want to do anything to throw it away late in the regular season. And right behind him is Hocevar. So this is a great little battle for position. Final lap of the opening stage.
Yeah, William did a great job because Quapple was trying to use Blaine Perkins as a pick right there, and William was able to kind of force the issue and get in the middle, be able to get back in front of the one car.
Man, has he been unbelievable. 3 consecutive wins on the season. 5 this year, and he just continues to dominate. He wins the opening stage. It's his 5th stage win of the campaign.
Well, he's making it look easy.
He swept the 2 stages in the first short track race of the year at Martinsville. Other drivers getting points. Love, Chastain is there. A Cup driver, Mayer, Sawalich. Quapple also got some much-needed points. It's his rookie teammate out front at Iowa.
The kid who just turned 19 years old recently, trying to go for 4 wins in a row. He's already off to a hot start today in Iowa as he wins the opening stage by just over a 1-second margin to that of Jesse Love in second. He had over 5 seconds to the third-place car, Ross Chastain. Chastain got by Mayer late in the stage. Sam Aaron's up 4th in stage 1 and William Sawalich in 5th. 6th place was Carson Quapple, Carson Hocevar in 7th. Daniel Dye 8th, Harrison Burton 9th, and Justin Allgaier rounds out the top 10. Only caution for incident was lap 2, and then we went green the rest of the way after that. So, ended up with about a 52-lap green flag run to the end of the stage. See how many stage wins that is for Zilich. Number 5. 5 stage wins on the year now for Connor. Justin Allgaier had the most laps led by a lot for a long time this season. He's had 685 for right now, but he's been over 600 for a while. And nobody had even eclipsed 200 up until finally Zilich was able to do so when he won at Pocono, and he's won a few more races since. And now he's up to 425. He's led over 50 laps today, and he's not that many more laps led away from 500 on the season. Most playoff points of any driver. He's got 2 more wins than Allgaier, and trying to maybe go for a regular season title on top of it. I'm curious to know where Connor Zilich was in the regular season standings after he missed the race at Texas. How many points back of first was he that he's been able to overcome in that stretch? And what position in the standings was he as well? Because I can remember the early going of the season when he had that 1 race win at COTA. We went through those ovals for the first, few months through April into May. I swear he was down around 8th, 9th, 10th in points. What a masterful job climbing out of that while missing a race, which is just even more adding to the insanity of it all. And then all of a sudden he ends up, let's say theoretically he does win the race today. He's won almost a third of the races this season. All right. Well, we'll have our diecast showing at the end of stage 2, which would be lap 120. Again, the first 2 stages each 60 laps in length. And then we will close the chat poll at the end of stage 2 as well. 70 votes so far casted. 54% of those 70 votes taking somebody other than the Cup regulars of Chastain, Hocevar, and Austin Dillon for the win today. Austin Dillon getting 7% of the votes. 19% took Hocevar. 20% taking Ross Chastain.
Tonight, the AVP League storms into Austin as their quest for glory continues all summer long. The AVP League, live from Austin, tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by GoodRx. For simple, smart savings on your prescriptions, check GoodRx. Toyota, let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express Card. Stage 1 complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here in Iowa. So the wheel and caution lights are on. Wheel and the official warning lights of NASCAR and America's most trusted manufacturer of emergency lights and sirens. 2 cautions so far today. Had the early spin for Sieg and Dillon. Sieg recovered and finished inside the top 20 in that opening stage. Dillon did not, went a lap down and not in the free pass position here. Free pass, so you see him going around here, is Ryan Ellis. Ellis 26, so we'll have 26 cars on the lead lap as we begin the second stage. And now we go to Progressive Pit Road. Connor Selleck's leading them down, Tim Tiff.
Yeah, and his teammate Ross Chastain, top of your screen, said almost wheel hopping, tight center, tight on throttle, could use a little bit more turn. They will take tires, fuel, make a slight air pressure adjustment on that 9 car. You see Connor Zilic there in the middle, little free in and a little tight center, but he said, I don't want to be any freer in. It's very close. Just couldn't quite get into the corner as hard as he wanted. Really good off, though, so no major adjustments there for Connor Zilic, Dylan.
Jesse Love had reported that he was tight in the center, but his crew chief Danny Stockman countered and said, I think your center roll speed is too fast, which may have been hurting your throttle pickup point. They'll make an air pressure adjustment just to help with that. You saw Sam Mayer there. Looked like he overshot his pit box at the very end of pit road. His report was just that he was tight from the center off in the corner. Chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel.
Race off Progressive Pit Road. Love doing a great job. The 2-team delivers. He goes +1, jumps out in front of his buddy Silich. Chastain stays in 3rd. And watch this. Dillon referenced Mayer. Pit stall, which you think is going to be an advantage after qualifying on the pole this week. Unfortunately, they go in the wrong direction. Stage 2 coming up next.
It's a little too deep in the pit box there for Sam Mayer. He was 3rd at the end of stage 1. He ends up cycling outside of the top 10. 17th is where Sam Mayer cycled out as he loses 14 positions in the pits. I want to give a shout out to Sam Mayer, though. They were talking over the broadcast, and I've been talking about the regular season title fight between Zilic and Allgaier. But Mayer was only minus 48 coming into the day. He gets 8 points to Allgaier's 1, so even he gained 7 on him. 1 point for just Allgaier, 10 for Zilic, so that's a 9-point increase there. Zilic did not win the race off pit road, though. He loses 4 positions. He falls from the lead back to 5th. Great stop by the 17. They were able to gain 6 positions. Obviously, a couple of miscues with some of those drivers in the top 10 that he was allowed to pick up spots on. Carson Kvapil fell out of the top 10 with a slow stop. I mentioned already about Sam Mayer blowing through his pit box, but great stop still by the 17. Miscues on others, and just like that, Allgaier's up in the top 5 for the first time today. I think if you get track position, you might be able to maintain to a certain extent. Like Jesse Love is a pole sitter, but he only led 1 lap. And Zilic was basically underneath him at the end of that first lap off of turn 4. Because then when the caution came out, Zilic wasn't even cleared of the 2. And Jesse Love was able, throughout the entirety of that 50-plus lap green flag run to the end of the first stage, stay within 1 second of the leader at the time. And now Zilic is back in traffic. Actually, I think he's going to be even further back than just 5th. He might have had a pit road penalty because Zilic is at the tail end of the lead lap now in 25th. So after winning stage 1, looks like the 88 team may be going to have to deal with a bit of adversity for the first time this afternoon. More on that in detail here in a second. Full screen commercial break continuing to air on the CW. Stage 2 about to begin shortly. You're listening live on KRC to HyVee Perks 250 coverage at Iowa Speedway. Yeah, Zilch definitely smoking the field. Was. It's tough when you lose 4 positions on pit road, but it doesn't matter how many positions you end up losing if you have a penalty of some sort, which seems to be the case for Zilish, considering that he is back in the pits. Jesse Love's shown some real speed. Ross Chastain qualified in the back half of the top 10. He was able to get all the way up to 3rd. So now he's more than likely going to be on the front row. Allgaier in the top 5 for the first time. I'm curious to see how the second stage is going to play out. Quite a few caution laps being ran during the stage break, by the way. This is already a longer caution period just for the stage end than what the first caution we had all the way back on lap 2 was. That only lasted 6 laps. This one's gone for 8 already. "40 minutes into this afternoon's live commentary coverage from Newton, Iowa.
It's brought to you by Blue Chew, helping you shake and bake all night long.
Shake and bake.
Stage 1 in the books here at Iowa Speedway. The man who won that opening stint of the race, 88 Connor Zilic, going to be coming from the rear. And now we get our race break brought to you by Safe Light, the auto glass experts. Here's what happened on the pit lane.
Yeah, keep an eye on the left front right here. Everything's normal coming off. You see the hanger is going to get it on there in time. And it's like the guy's timing got off in the left front. The jackman thought he'd been there long enough, and you go to release that. It's a split-second reaction. They had to come back in. Good to come back in, though, knowing that it wasn't tight. Sometimes you'll take a chance on that left front at it because it's the least load that you have in the car, but they clearly didn't think they had enough of the nuts tight.
How about Mayer, 3rd at the end of the stage, couldn't get into his pit stall. Here's their team radio.
We got the work now, right? Yeah, everybody's good. Okay, take it out. We'll be better next time for sure.
He was 16th prior to the choose.
Yeah, he just got to get a better idea. He knows he's the number 1 pit stop, but where his turn-in point's going to be.
All right, green flag back in the air. Jesse Love outside row 1 on the restart, just like he was in the initial start, but he's got the Cup veteran Ross Chastain underneath him. Great power down through the center of 1 and 2 on the outside for Love. Chastain slips up off the exit of the corner, has a tough time staying with the 2. He's side by side on the inside of William Sawalich. Justin Allgaier finds himself 3 wide middle. He's slip sliding around and losing a bunch of positions. I think he was inside of row 2 on the restart initially. He was 10th at the end of the last stage, and he's almost right back to where he finished the last stage, despite the fact his team gained 6 spots on pit road. Allgaier now back to 9th. He's got the 48 of Nick Sanchez underneath him. Surprised with the way the race has gone so far by way of high grip level in the corners. Corner entry being a little bit loose, but Nick Sanchez, who also had a great run at Texas, has a truck race win there in his career, had another great run where he finished runner-up at Rockingham. Has been nowhere to be found so far today till now he's in 10th, but some of that may be after misfortune from others. I believe Ryan Ellis got the free pass as being the first car lapped down when the stage caution came out. So we are at 27 cars on the lead lap yet again. Some of those that are lapped down: Jeb Burton, Austin Dillon, some of the bigger names. RCR and an affiliated RCR team with Jordan Anderson Racing. Christian Eckes having a moment on the outside 3 wide with Ryan Seek, Sam Mayer around him on the restart. Mayer trying to get back as many spots as he can from the pit stop mishap. Driver error on that one after sliding through his box a little too deep. To back up. Get 14 positions lost for Mayer. Restarted in 17th. He's got a couple of those back already. It's hard to make passes on that inside lane. Sure about how slippery it is on corner entry. It's even worse down on the bottom. Can't seem to wrap that fast line and be on the throttle for as long of a period of time as what you can in that middle to upper groove. Taylor Gray making a pass for 7th over Harrison Burton. Burton been quietly in the top 10 all race long. And as we track Connor Zilic and his wayward from 25th on the restart, he is up to 18th, 7 spots gained already for Zilic. Didn't take too long. If he's able to get well inside the top 10, even midway through this stage, I think he's going to be the one to beat still. Showing that he's able to pass quite a few cars, even ones that have decent pace. Get up into the top 10, the cars are going to be a lot harder to pass than what they're going to be further back in the pack like he's running right now. Carson Hocevar trying to break into the top 5 for the first time. He battles Sheldon Creed. Creed on the inside had a big wobble, but it almost looked like Hocevar might have gotten a bit tight in the dirty air. He was running the same exact line as the 18 of Sawalch in front of him. Now his line's altered a little bit. He was about half a line below, maybe pinching Creed off a little tighter at the bottom, and Hocevar's clear for 5th. And Hocevar now runs about a full lane below the 18 car on entry into the corner, slips up directly behind him by middle exit. So just trying to do whatever he can to run different times than those above him. Brandon Jones just set the fastest lap of the race at lap 79, 24.574. Ross Chastain with the second quickest time of the race, also that last lap, 24.583, both quicker than our current race leader, Jesse Love. Love's got a lot of pressure from behind by Ross Chastain. Junior Motorsports, it wasn't Zilic, now it's the 9 of Chastain. Looking to try to take the race lead away from the driver, the number 2. Third of the way through this second stage, we'll go through the full field running order. Lap 83 of 250. Jesse Love out in front of the field. Ross Chastain in second. Brandon Jones third. William Sawalch fourth. And Carson Hocevar in fifth. Sixth is Sheldon Creed. Taylor Gray seventh. Harrison Burton eighth. Justin Allgaier ninth. Nick Sanchez in 10th. 11th is Sam Mayer. Ryan Sieg 12th. Corey Day 13th. Carson Kvapil 14th and 15th for Sammy Smith, who started at the rear of the field today. Daniel Dye 16th rather. 17th for Connor Zilic. 18, Justin Bonsignor. Christian Eckes, 19th. Brendan Poole, 20th. Parker Retzlaff, 21st. Dean Thompson, 22nd. Matt DiBenedetto, 23rd. Anthony Alfredo, 24th. 25th for Ryan Ellis. Jeremy Clements, 26th. Mason Massey, 27th, is the last car in the lead lap. First car lap down currently is Kyle Segan, 28th. 29th for Blaine Perkins. Jeb Burton in 30th. 30th is Blaine Perkins, then Jeb Burton, 31st. Joey Gase, 32nd. Thomas Nunziata, 33rd. Garrett Smithley, 34th. Patrick Emmerling, 35th. Sorry, I keep butchering that. 36 is Josh Palicki. Then Tyler Tomasi, 4 laps down at 37th. Dawson Cramp still off track. Only completed a couple laps today. He pulled off after the first lap, and then I think he ended up completing 3 more after that, pulled back into the garage. So something definitely going awry there for the 74 team. Ross Chastain, during the midst of that running order rundown, just took the race lead moments ago from Jesse Love. Chastain now out in front, lap 87 of 250. So, first time we've seen Chastain lead today. Second time for Junior Motorsports Chevy. Quite a big mishap for Jesse Love. His first lap riding in second. Brandon Jones is now all over and battling for that spot after quickly losing the lead. Jones is showing a lot of pace. I mentioned moments ago he had the fastest lap of the race. Getting closer to the front of the field and just showing that raw speed in the JGR car for this evening. Justin Allgaier, Harrison Burton battle on track. That battle is for 8th. Allgaier slipped back to 9th pretty quickly, but he's just not able to make passes. Offensive moves are very difficult for the driver than number 7 today, and he's lacking a lot more speed than what I would have thought coming into the event. Sam Mayer, who restarted back at 17th, is already caught to the back of the 7. He's all over his back bumper, also looking for a spot. Brandon Jones underneath of Jesse Love, and now side by side in the front stretch as they battle for second place. Not going to be much of a battle, though. Jones will clear into turn 1 and take that spot away from Love.
Side by side on CW because you don't miss anything. But you know who could have done without the side by side? From first to third, Chastain gets the lead. Brandon Jones just got around him for second. Let's go back and And look and see how the 9 was able to take the top spot away.
Yeah, he worked over Jesse for a few laps. You see him drive in here, pack a bunch of air on that left rear, move that car up the racetrack. This took multiple laps to happen, but once he got to the inside, I think the 2 car, the balances went away on that car because he's faded quickly. Once Chastain was able to get by him, Brandon Jones a couple of laps later did almost the exact same move. So the 2 cars got a weakness right there in the middle of the corner and allowing those guys to get to his left rear.
Mayer had the issue on pit road, and he's been driving that thing since the restart. I always make this, I don't know if driving angry is a thing, but maybe some added motivation. Without a doubt. And the miscue was his, right? I mean, you're missing in, and now he's driving it for all he's worth, and now we get a caution, and it's going to be for the 71 of Ryan Ellis, who had just gotten the free pass on that last caution. So the Wheeling caution lights are on again. Ellis was 26 when it got away.
Tried to hustle like that, bigger time.
You hear him talking about trying to hustle it to make the pass. Again, that's that inside just being the weaker side of the racetrack. This is good for Connor Zilic, though. Like, you start in the back, get past a few cars on a restart, and get to restack the field. So just take a look right here. Oh, Ryan just slides up the racetrack a little bit inside of Alfredo.
And I'm not sure what will happen here with the free pass because those 2 drivers are showing as the first 2 1 lap down, Ellis and Alfredo. It did work out good for Mason Massey. He took the wait around to get back on the lead lap into stage 1. He's 25th and on the lead lap right now. Chastain leading at Iowa.
Bold strategy for Mason Massey to take the wave around. He couldn't have had too much more fuel left in the race car at that point, 92 laps into the race, but was able to hold on to his lap somehow. So he gets a lap back, probably leapfrogged a handful of positions or more. Ross Chastain took the lead about 3 or 4 laps before the caution flag came out. Brandon Jones is in second. Jesse Love third, and William Sawalich rounding out the top 4 under caution for the 3rd time today. Second for incident, our first incident of stage 2. Again, Anthony Alfredo and Ryan Ellis battling for the free pass position in 28th, going for a spin. I would imagine nobody's going to get the free pass then, because usually if you're involved in the incident, you don't get it, and it just doesn't go to the next person. Nobody gets it. So I'd imagine that would be the case. I'd be shocked if NASCAR gives one of them that free pass spot. A lot of teams have tires up on the wall. We might be seeing some pit stops right at the midway point of stage 2. So we'll see. Pit road not quite open yet, I don't believe. Some cars at the back of the field that are pitting, so maybe it is open. So many of the leaders stayed out. I just automatically assumed it looked like pit road was closed still, but might not have been the case. Ronnie Pac-Man, Joanne Ellis, thanks for tuning in. Where's the 7? Justin Allgaier is in 9th, I believe, when the caution came out. He has been so hot on the restarts today, so definitely going to need to get a couple of those spots back. He's struggling to make passes on track. It's 30 caution laps. 220 don't count the caution period. Yeah, basically, I think we're going to have more than 30 laps of caution, though. We definitely tend to see a lot of cautions in the Xfinity Series on short tracks. Usually double digits. We've had 3. It's been pretty good pace so far through 94 laps, but I'm sure that that's probably going to pick up quite a bit into stage 3 if I had to assume. So far, though, nothing egregious to this point.
Preparing for road courses, a type of track he really didn't have a lot of experience on yet. Surprisingly, the AT team has found more success there this season, averaging a finish position of 13.7 on those road courses. Now, William told me this week that confidence booster has likely led to 2 straight top 10s on an oval. And William said, we know if we want to get in the playoffs, it's going to have to come via win, but said he still at times they've had the speed. He knows he has the pit crew. It's just a matter of if it can all come together. Dylan.
And Carla, Joe Gibbs cars have all been strong so far today, including Taylor Gray, who started 36 with that brake issue in practice this morning. Got to 12th by the end of stage 1 and is now well inside the top 10, actually in 5th here. But he did come on the radio a little bit ago and reported that the brake shake feeling that he felt this morning is back in his race car. He said it's manageable right now, so not a huge concern, but I think it obviously raises some alarm bells given the issues that they had earlier. Speaking of issues, here's Dean Thompson on pit road.
This Toyota onboard camera, and I got a note that said they were penalized for too many men over the wall, and that likely is a penalty they're not worried about because they had repairs to make on this car. By the way, Jeremy Clements made a pit stop. They were too fast exiting. And the other thing we need to point out here as Dean Thompson pulls away is that Austin Dillon actually got the free pass.
What?
Here's how this worked out. Ryan Ellis, we saw the spin with Anthony Alfredo. They both went a lap down as a product of the spin on track. First car 1 lap down at the time of caution was the 21 of Austin Dillon. So we had the early problems, went a lap down, but they are now back on the lead lap. We got 26 cars being shown on the lead lap here.
Well, hopefully they've been able to make some adjustments to the 21 car. It was way off the pace after that small contact we saw. But if they can make some adjustments, I think the spoiler got knocked down just a little bit on that car, and it's lost all the grip. Kim, do you have more on the 20?
Yeah, how about Brandon Jones in that second position? But it's no surprise to them. When I met with crew chief Sam McCauley yesterday, before they even thought about practice, he said winning before the playoffs is the main focus to earn more playoff points. And I said, okay, what if you have circled? And he said this weekend in Gateway, they felt like are their 2 best opportunities to win for the playoffs. Stage 1, he wasn't sure why he had so many chattering problems. He was tight center, loose exit. He said it was hard to pass, but then they made adjustments, still on edge, but overall better.
Yeah, pay attention right here. The second place, Brandon Jones, as Kim was just talking about, took the outside again. I think that's a good decision if he can get launched on the restart. Looking at more time getting going, but that outside just has so much momentum on the outside. As you see, Jesse Love can get into the corner good, but look at this right here. When they go to get to the gas, she gets to the gas so much earlier on exit. It's going to be okay for Jesse. He's in 3rd anyway. But I think that's a great decision for that second place car to take the outside. It's the safer bet. Maybe when you get down to the end, you go to the inside, you take a chance, going for the win of the race. But the outside, just for sure, that first 2 rows seems to be the advantage.
You know who was unbelievable on that restart? Sam Mayer. I mean, he drove down to the inside, picked up spots. The 88 bright yellow machine. Connor Zillage driving through, got into his teammate, Justin Allgaier. They're just outside the top 15.
Yeah, that's the last car you want to get into is your teammate. Obviously, the 88 got a little bit loose underneath him. You got to race hard here at the end. Is to see Jones. Pressure on Chastain for the win. I didn't see this from a 20 car in practice. I didn't notice the 20 car being a contender. I thought the 9 was, based on what we've been able to see as we go back and take a look at that contact. I mean, Justin gave him enough room. It just looked like the 88 got loose and slid up and got into the side. And unfortunately, no cut down tires. Could have been bad, yeah.
That was a similar area to the track where things got away from Sieg lap 2 when he got up and got into Austin Dillon.
Yeah, you see, I think that Connor was scared to pitch down with Eckes being on his inside. Eckes looked like he was going to give that to him. But when it did, it just put him in an awkward position. Car got loose, and unfortunately, there was a teammate on the outside.
Taylor Gray going in the wrong direction on the restart here.
Yeah, but if you look at that, he's able to capitalize on that and get around the 2 car.
He had fallen to Sam Mayer back to the generation of
And these guys have all complained about how loose they are on entry. And, that's typically an issue you have in all of oval racing. You have to be loose enough on entry to make the car turn through the middle. But it's magnified at this particular racetrack because of this new asphalt they put down. The new asphalt has a ton of grip. But this old asphalt that they're on right now, as they go into the corner, has no grip. So you're loose on entry, then you get the middle, and then when the car compresses, all of a sudden the balance is too tight. So finding the balance here is far harder here than most.
Yeah, Jesse Law on a bit of a slide after he had, restarted up there on the front row. He slid back to 7th in the running order. Taylor Gray had fallen to 7th and is now recovered, as you said, up to the 5th position and trying to finish the deal on some stage points here with 18 laps to go, stage 2.
All these Gibbs cars, like as this race goes on, I know Connor dominated at the beginning, had that pit stall issue, but if you look, second place with Brandon Jones, we have Sawalich in 5th, and then Taylor Gray, who just passed him for 4th. All the Gibbs cars, as the rubber's getting laid down, as we're getting later in this race, you're seeing all those cars start to rise to the top.
Gray in as good a spot as he's been all day long. On board Daniel Dye, taking advantage here as Zilich driving to the inside. We talk about the Gibbs cars. We haven't said a lot about Justin Bonsignor. Different baseline when you talk about expectation because of his limited experience, but he's got the 19 in the 15th position just in front of this duo.
Yeah, and the 88's got stalled out. For as dominant as that car was at the beginning, he went back to 26th, 27th on the restart of the stage, was able to drive up to 17th or 18th before that caution came out, but just hasn't been able to make up the ground that we all thought he was going to be able to as easily as like we saw Sieg or Taylor Gray do at the beginning of the race. And one of the issues there, Adam, is that they got to make a pit stop. So all these guys were able to adjust on their cars and get them a little better. It's always harder to pass later in the race than it is first run of the race.
Well, you got to stay with it. And it's something that Connor referenced in the pre-race earlier today. This is a long race, 250 laps here for the Xfinity Series, so there is time, especially in that final stage. What about the 88, Kim?
Yeah, just a completely different race car than what he had in clean air. He said he struggles on entry when he gets too close to guys, a little loose and dirty. He said it's really tough. It's sideways, but he's up to the bumper of another car. Now, he did pick up 9 positions on that first run after he got buried during that loose wheel incident.
Oh, speaking of loose.
I think it's sideways.
I think he's going to be able to say that he was sideways, Kim. You gotta almost wonder, is there a slow leak or something on the 88 after he had that contact with the 7? Does it have a slow leak or? Get another look at this right here. You see he drives in. It's kind of close to the 7. You see the 10 packs some air on that left rear. Look at that. I mean, that thing is sideways for the 88.
If you ever wondered the impact of aero at this track, I mean, boy, just a little bit of a shake there, and he's got to hang on to it.
Yeah, and we refer to this as a short track, but it's really fast. And all the guys will tell you that. No matter what kind of a car you come here in, it's got a ton of speed, a ton of load. The repave obviously has given it a lot of grip in the corners.
You haven't said his name in a while. Carson Hocevar in the 11 for Colin, and racing behind Nick Sanchez, this for 11th.
And Sanchez was not good at practice either. Qualifying didn't look that great, but they've been able to put together a decent race right here. He's been running in the top 10 most of the race. That car has been really fast. A lot of different styles of tracks that we went to this year, but it seemed like they were a little bit off when they unloaded this weekend. But they've made a nice recovery here to be in the top 10.
Well, I mean, you feel like the last 5-6 weeks has been a microcosm of what it's like to be a rookie, because he gets his first career win at Phil Park Speedway in Atlanta, follows it up with a couple of top 5s, and you're like, here he comes. He's figuring it out. The last couple of weeks, they've had his house finished outside the top 30 and not as good here today. So it's so hard to find consistency. And the one other thing for so many young drivers in the Xfinity Series, you're just not used to having to bring it every week for 33 weeks. That's tough mentally, the grind that comes with running at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like if we look at Hocevar, who's behind him, ran the top 5 that first stage. They've made some adjustments to that car. Most likely it went the wrong way, because it seems like the 11th car now is struggling to even stay. He's back to 12.
Colin cars were good earlier today, practice and qualifying, but not showing out at a high level in the race. They're all anywhere from 12th to 16th in the running order. Hocevar, Eckes, and Dye. Yeah. Look at some of these drivers that make pit stops under that caution just past lap 90, and there hasn't been a ton of movement. But I start to think as we head toward the end of stage 2, Are they just doing what it takes to stay on the lead lap here, and then you stay out? Take care of your tires so you're in position to flip the stage. As we look at the running order for Joe Gibbs Racing and Justin Bonson, you're up to 13th. He's doing a really good job.
I think he's done a great job. Yeah, it's been a tough few races for Justin when he gets in this car, not in it every single weekend. But putting together a great weekend here, and again, talked about the Gibbs car seem to keep getting better. Justin doing a tremendous job running inside the top 13 right here, running better than he thought.
This has been a great track for Joe Gibbs Racing over the years. 7 wins here, the best all time. Connor Zilic, meanwhile, 17th. Here's 88 Radio.
I'm sorry, you guys over the count. Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh boy, a little frustration on the radio, and it's the opposite. It's the opposite of there, right? Like Sam knew that he made the mistake in his pit stall. Connor's frustrated at the pit crew because he wins his first stage, and then you get back to practice. But I mean, that's part of it. It's a team sport. There's no doubt about it. So Sieg lose all his momentum right there on the exit of 4. I think Connor's going to be okay. They just got to reset. That balance is going to have to get adjusted for traffic versus what he had at the start of the race. And look, racing's frustrating.
Mentioned Sieg, he falls back to 10th in that final spot to get stage points. 4 to go in the stage.
What I say in qualifying, when you're tight, you're mad. When you're loose, you scream F-bombs. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Because there was a great example of that.
Well, when you're him, and today you dominate the early portion of the race like you do, and then you have some of the issues that unfold, I think the frustration level is going to grow. And someone that's gone the other way with it, I mean, I mentioned the fact that he had a little bit of a slide on this restart, but Taylor Gray has managed his day at an outstanding level, up to third now, and he passed Mayer to get to third, which is worth noting because Mayer was so good on the restart and so good in the early part of that first stage. And look at what he's been able to do today. Plus 33 after not making a qualifying run, talking about Taylor Gray.
Yeah, and not just that, but 2/10 quicker than the leader. Like the Gray is by far the fastest car on the track. You see Brandon Jones has closed in almost to the rear bumper of Ross Chastain. I think Ross is finally going to win the stage, but we got to look ahead to the next stage. If the 54 can have a good pit stop, they have the best car on this run.
Looks like it's going to be a junior motorsports suite, stage 1 and stage 2. First stage goes to Connor Zilic, and stage 2 going to go to the Ross Chastain. It's his 10th career stage victory. And the last time he won a stage, Martinsville, October of 2001. He's been great here over the years. Couple of top 5s for JD Motorsports. Top 10 last year driving for Mario Goslin. Chastain wins it. Jones, Gray, Mayer, Sawalich, the top 5. Creed, Love, Harrison, Burton, Carson, Quapple, Ryan Sieg, all getting stage points. 2 stages down, 1 to come. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series live on the CW.
All right, so Ross Chastain wins stage 2. Pretty dominating fashion. He got out ahead of Jesse Love pretty early in the stage. 38 laps led right now for Chastain, who is, again, the stage 2 winner. Just a couple tenths behind him, though, is Brandon Jones in second, who stayed right there with him every step of the way. I think Jones gets track position, and we'll be looking at a similar race where Jones is leading and Chastain's struggling to make the move. Taylor Gray in third. Good run for JGR right now with 3 cars in the top 5. You got Sam Mayer in fourth. Great recovery. Mayer's got a quick race car. They made some adjustments now that he was back in traffic. Restarted 17th, 13 spots gained to get to 4th. He could be a contender. William Sawalich in 5th and Sheldon Creed in 6th, having a pretty solid run as well today. Jesse Love fell all the way back to 7th. The longer that run went, the worse it seemed like the 2-car got. Definitely doesn't seem to be as quick as he was in stage 1. Harrison Burt 8th yet again, just like he was in the first stage. He is here in stage 2. Carson Quapple 9th rather, getting 2 points for his stage finishing results. And Ryan Sieg in 10th gets 1 lone stage point on the day. None in the first stage after having the spin on lap 2. But he's recovered. He's back in the top 10 now, looking for 3 top 10s in a row. Ryan Ellis will get the free pass, being the first car lap down in 27th. And that caution couldn't come soon enough for Sammy Smith, who was all the way back in 26. He was the last car in the lead lap when the yellow flag came out again, end of stage 2. 4th caution of the day, then we've had 5 lead changes so far as we are a couple laps shy of halfway. We'll end up reaching the halfway mark during this stage 2 yellow. Last guaranteed caution, but we still have quite a bit of racing left here today at Iowa Speedway. Well, in the chat polls, we're at the end of stage 2. 89 of you voted for who you think is going to win today's race, and 55% of those 89 votes taking either Chastain, Hocevar, or somebody other than Chastain, Hocevar, or Austin Dillon for the win. Chastain at 21%, Hocevar 16%, 6% for Austin Dillon. But Chastain, the winner of stage 2, we'll see if he can end up getting yet another win. Be the third driver to win in the number 9 car this season if he's able to do so. And it'd be win number 101 for Junior Motorsports after getting their 100th last weekend. Dale Jr. not at the track this week. It's a good thing that they got 100 at the Brickyard with Zilich a week ago. Noah Zilich lining up back in the pack. Justin Allgaier continuously losing positions. Can't get him back over the course of a long green flag run. He was 15th at the end of that last stage. Sammy Smith fading to 26. Kind of crazy to think Junior Motorsports is struggling as bad as they are today outside of the number 9. The 88 was fine when he had clean air, but in traffic loose, which is definitely weird because you would think that being in traffic, most drivers tend to trend tight. But it was loose on the side of Zilich. Maybe he went the wrong way trying to overcompensate for being back in traffic is the only thing I can think of as to why the car might have been handling that way.
CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle home, auto, and motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Golden Corral. Golden Corral, ops our nation's heroes. 2 stages all wrapped here in Iowa. The Whelen caution lights are on. Whelen, the official warning lights of NASCAR, America's most trusted manufacturer of emergency lights and sirens. 4 cautions today, 2 for incident on track, 2 for stage end, and now the all-important execution on the pit lane, and it's played a big role already today. You think about what happened to Mayer in that first cycle, Connor Zilich, and we'll see if everyone can handle their business here and maintain the track position or maybe pick up a spot or 2.
That 20 car has got a little bit of relief behind him with 2 lap-down cars, so have a little bit of a break those first 2 well back to Taylor Gray to see how much they can close up here as they come to the yellow line.
And that 20 team has been really good this season on pit road. Progressive pit lane all open now, Kim.
Yeah, one of the top ranked pit crews on that 20 team. Brandon saying pushing through the front tires, still edgy entry, hurt his exit that last adjustment. The middle of your screen, Ross Chastain, he said it's a grip issue, not a balance issue. I don't need any more out of the rear. Managing the rear is the biggest issue. Could use a little bit more turn through the center, and so they'll make just a slight adjustment, Dylan.
Balance is good on the 54. Taylor Gray said he migrated a little bit tighter that run by about half number, but good stability all around. 4 tires and fuel. Sam Mayer on the right of the screen as well said he was tight center off again on this run. Asked for a bigger change, and he's going to be able to race the leaders for the win.
The easiest place to pass is, in fact, pit road. And the race off Progressive pit road, we said they're good. Brandon Jones Group delivers. He wins the race off in front of Chastain. Sawalich +2. Gray lost a spot, so did Mayer. And some drivers staying out, among them Sammy Smith, who had made a pit stop just north of lap 90. We'll reset it all and get ready for the final stage next.
Great stop for the 20 team winning the race off of pit road. So now we got an opportunity to see if Jones can hang on to the lead in front of Ross Chastain. And if Chastain loses it, can he get it back like he did with Jesse Love on the restart of the last stage? So, or I should say the restart in the middle of the last stage, because we did have a caution for incident pretty much right smack dab in the middle of stage 2. These teams are not going to be good on fuel to the end, so they will have to pit at least one more time. Waiting for our leaderboard to update here, but Brandon Jones will be the leader. Unless Sammy Smith stayed out of the pits. Which, if Sammy Smith stayed out of the pits, then yeah, he would be in the lead. He was in 26. He might have been just trying to save tires. and leapfrog the running order this way. Because he was the last car on the lead lap at the stage yellow at lap 120. Interesting way to do it. I mean, if he holds on well, that's going to be a brilliant call. We haven't seen anybody try to stay out on older tires all day yet today. There's a bit of fall off. But if clean air is that much of king, could pan out pretty well for Sammy Smith. Just over 100 people watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're almost to our goal of 50 likes on the stream. Right now we are at 47. We did get to our like goal during the practice and qualifying coverage for the NASCAR Cup Series a little earlier. So hopefully we can get there 2 streams in a row. Our NASCAR Cup Series race coverage tomorrow will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race, and we will also have a NASCAR 8 stream at Atlanta tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Eastern as well. What position is Connor in right now? He is 18th. He was 17th at the end of the last stage. Allgaier was 15th. Their team gained 2 spots on pit road, so Allgaier now up to 13th. Of the 2 JRM Chevys that are not in the top 10. Carson Hocevar was struggling in the back half of that last stage. He is now in 15th place. He was in the top 5 early in stage 2. Started bleeding quite a few positions. Number 22 fast. Oh boy. That's not good. So speeding penalty for the guy who won the race off of pit road, just trying to get a little bit too much. Brandon Jones, tail end of the field. And he's only got the second half of the race to try to overcome the odds.
Getting ready for the restart final stage at Iowa, dropping to the rear. Brandon Jones speeding on the pit lane after he won the race off pit road.
Yeah, he had pits caught speeding just about halfway down pit road. He's pitted at the very beginning.
Watch his teammate coming out to his left. Taylor Gray makes his pit stop.
Yeah, and part of that's because that's where that curve starts, Adam. And so you'll manipulate that a little bit on the straight versus in the curve. And I think with him being on the inside, just pushed it just a little bit too far.
Sammy Smith.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he was behind the 9 most of the way through the pits and was able to actually pass him on that inside line, I would imagine he was pretty well over the speed limit. But needless to say, green flag is back in the air. We are racing, and Chastain does get back out with the lead again. Sammy Smith, who did stay out of the pits, falls in second. Couple cars 3 wide, a little further back inside the top 10. It's still 3 wide down the back straightaway. Ryan Sieg, one of which on the inside. Harrison Burton in the middle, and another rookie on the outside of Nick Sanchez. Sammy Smith not going to be able to hold on to second. The other JGR Toyota, who was in the top 3 at the end of the last stage, Taylor Gray, is up to second place. Gray came so close to his first career win a week ago. Just came up short at Indianapolis. Got passed by Zilich in the last lap and a half of that one. Got to the lead initially on that final restart with 4 to go. Held on for a couple laps before surrendering and finishing runner-up. Now he's in the runner-up position. Trying to keep the good times rolling. Jesse Love, great recovery on the restart. He's going to be able to get up to 4th place. Finished 7th last stage, so he's up 3 spots. Sam Mayer, who lost a few spots on pit road, lost a couple more in the restart. He's back to 6th. He got up to 4th. They're getting 13 positions in stage 2, where passing has been pretty difficult all day. This car is definitely handling well. If anybody's got anything for Chastain of those that are already at the front of the field, I'd maybe lean towards Sam Mayer. Team's got to get a little bit better on pit road, though. Slid through the box the first time, so it was a driver error on the first stop, but the team losing them positions, just a couple of them, but every spot matters under pit stop number 2. As for Connor Zilich, she's up to 14th. Justin Allgaier again loses more spots on the restart. He's now back to 17th place. I feel like every single restart, Justin Allgaier has lost like 3 to 5 positions or more. Taylor Gray just set the fastest lap of the event, 24.432 at lap 135. Fastest laps of the race were also ran by Jesse Love and Ross Chastain. So each of the top three making adjustments. They're getting quicker. They all ran their fastest lap. Considering Sammy Smith was in 26, if he could be anywhere near the top 10 by the next pit stop, that's a pretty solid pit strategy call to just stay out. Again, he was running slow before that, so he was trying to conserve tires to do this strategy. He wasn't necessarily pushing hard all the last run and then stayed out. He was just in conservation mode the whole time. Win in the back pocket, he's already in the playoffs. Can try something different like that. Race closing in on Chastain for the lead here. 113 laps to go this time by. Sam Mayer right back up to fourth place. He just passed Sammy Smith on track last time through 1 and 2. Chastain is fastly approaching Connor Zilisch for the most laps led in the race. Zyke, thanks for tuning in. He's pulling for the Watermelon Man. Ross Chastain, so far so good for him today. 3 wide for Corey Day. Underneath Dean Thompson, gets into Thompson, and Thompson slides through turns 3 and 4. Down the racetrack he goes, gets it corrected. Caution flag's already out. Our 5th yellow of the event. Well, three wide and tight, and it looked like Thompson ran into Day down the back stretch. And Day washed up the racetrack right into him. Turns 1 and 2. I don't really know how much of that was actually Corey Day's fault. We don't know exactly what happened through turns 1 and 2. It maybe Thompson pinched down the 17 because of the way Day ran him the corner before that, but coming up off the exit of the corner, I didn't see Day do anything wrong. He's definitely made some over-aggressive mistakes in his young stock car racing career, but not as many recently, and I don't really know that I'm going to fully put the blame on him here. The only other thing I can think of is maybe didn't realize he was 3 wide, but I'm pretty sure he knew he was there. Self-inflicted wound maybe there for Thompson. They were underneath the hood of his race car earlier, so it's been a constant struggle for that 26 team today. They are still in the lead lap, but now the tail end of it after the spin. They were just around 20th because I think Day restarted in 21st. And he's still in 21st, so yeah. Really only loses a couple positions. Going to hurt the tires, obviously, with that slide. He has to put an extra set on. Might burn that up for the end of the race. All right, well, take another quick break here. You're listening live to KRC. NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage at Iowa Speedway continues. There we go. We have eclipsed 50 likes. We're at 51 right now. Counting. Still got over 100 people watching. Be sure to hit the like button. Again, it helps these streams out a ton. Helps me out a ton. So we try to grow the channel. And more live commentary coverage for you tomorrow afternoon. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live for the NASCAR Cup race. This is the Xfinity race. NASCAR Cup Series racing tomorrow from Iowa Speedway. Trucks are off this weekend. They'll be back at the Glen next week. Triple header next weekend. Truck, Xfinity, and Cup. I think the truck race is Friday evening, if I'm not mistaken. I checked the schedule on that just to be sure. I think it's like a Friday at like 5 o'clock. Yeah, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern next week. Early Friday evening NASCAR truck race. Surprisingly, not the earliest start this year. They have a race at the Roval at 3:30 on a Friday evening. Friday after that's like middle Friday afternoon. Obviously gets darker earlier that time of the year, and then Talladega they start at 4 p.m. also on a Friday. So a couple more early Friday streams for the Truck Series this season.
At the end of stage 2, had the speeding penalty, didn't have track position. They too, one of the teams that elect to come down here. Let's get a report on Brandon Jones, Kim.
Yeah, one of those that came down on lap 141. This is a gamble for Jones. He lost the track position due to speeding on pit road. So they had nothing to lose, kind of in a sense. He joins in my section Carson Hocevar and Christian Eckes. Big gambles from all of them. Right now I'm hearing about 5 to 6 laps short, though, outside of the fuel window for the guys that came down during that lap 141 stop, Dylan.
And a little bit of a different strategy as well for the 8 car of Sammy Smith. They'll restart 5th. And if you remember, they flipped stage 2 and restarted this final stage as the leader. Their goal was around lap 157. That was at least kind of when the pit window opened for everybody. So if they could have got this yellow maybe in even 5 or 10 laps later than when they got it, it would have been a huge net gain for them. But instead, they're going to have to survive another restart here, hope everything settles in on these older tires, and then just see where they shake out. So not the end of the world for the 8, but probably didn't like to see this yellow.
Let's go back and revisit what brought out the caution here as we get those reports and strategy that played out with this, our 5th yellow of the day. Riding with Dean Thompson, Toyota onboard camera.
You hear him throttling up as soon as he got loose, trying to catch the car.
Making his first start here at Iowa. Kyle Sieg got the free pass here. And we're showing right now 29 cars on the lead lap. Let's get some Team Radio 54 Taylor Gray.
Yeah, once we get 15 laps, those tires are better then. So if we can get back to the conditions we were a second ago, eventually you're going to pass him somehow.
Here, Jason Ratcliffe giving some tires. I mean, he's been a couple of tenths better. He got stalled out though. He ran Chastain down, got stalled out behind him on that. Maybe this restart can shake it up. I like the fact that he chose the outside though. We have documented the entire race how much better of a position that is, and we also heard that Taylor got frustrated on the bottom a couple of times. So I think he's in the best position he can on this restart.
Jason Ratcliffe closing on 60 wins on the pit box. Do you agree, James? Jason, let me pick it up. Yeah. His driver restarts second outside lane. Watch Chastain gets the jump.
So Ross take a massive arc down into turn 1. 54 looks a little bit loose right here on the initial restart, which I can see. You know, as you run, if these cars are building tighter, you're going to see some move around quite a bit on the restart. Those guys are so vulnerable on the bottom, knowing how loose their cars are. See Jesse Love. Oh, it looks like he lost a bunch of momentum right there in the middle of 3 and 4. And look, he got up out of the groove. We saw the 8 get inside of him and put him in a bad position. Sam Ayers on the inside trying to slot in front of the 18 again.
Don't look now. Connor Zilic back in the top 10 after they had the loose lug nuts and struggled to make up much harder, but he's slowly, methodically picking them off, and still plenty of time with over 100 laps to go. 88 to the side of the 25 of Harrison Burton here.
Yeah, and I know that's been frustrating for Connor getting in the back, and we heard his frustration on the radio. But it's so interesting how just with the farther forward you get, how each car you pass, your car will handle just a little bit better. He's put himself in a good position right here. If Jesse Love could clear the 41, we feel confident the 88's fast enough. The closer to the front, he needs to get a couple more restarts if he wants to get in position to be able to win this. I don't know, just be able to run the 54 down, but he has done a nice job of recovering from that pit road issue they had being stage 1.
Well, these are the kinds of positions you need to put yourself in, because he's someone we're going to be talking about in the fall that's got a real shot to win the championship. And it's not going to go perfect every week. There are going to be things that go wrong. You have to manage the bad times. And they're getting through it today. He's now up to 7, now 6th in the running point.
It's so interesting you bring up the championship, Adam, because at the beginning of the year, I remember you had Zilic in your championship for. I did not. I was like, he's a rookie. I think he's going to have a traditional rookie year. But he's proved me wrong. It's been incredible to watch what he's been able to do. And obviously, I would say he's got to be the favorite right now, he or his teammate Justin Allgaier.
I just think it's great that you remembered I had Zilic in my championship war, because I didn't remember that until you just reminded me. So thank you very much.
That's what friends are for, buddy.
Jesse Love in the 2. Sawalich in the 18. Here comes Zilich for another one. He's back to the top 5. 88, starting to flex some muscle in the final stage.
Well, and we have seen him trying to work the top because of those guys being on the bottom. This will really show how good his car is. He's going to have a little bit of clean air on the front end, not in the preferred lane. We'll see how much he forces the issue. You see Harrison Berg right there behind him. So if he can't make this pass, he might go back. It's like you don't gain 1, you might lose 2 or 3. You see, he's driving in there trying to slide up. Oh,
Got him.
Was able to get to the throttle from the Zorch there.
That reminded me of an ARCA race 2024. These two showed up there, went head to head, and it was a bar fight between that young duo.
Oh, they had a heck of a battle here. These last few restarts they had here at the ARCA race last year was a lot of fun to watch William and Connor go at it.
Sheldon Creed back there in the 00 has been quiet today, but doing what they need to do. They have to manage the end of the regular season. He wants to win, no doubt about it, in that Oklahoma Street. Still looking for his first career victory, but you also have to do what it takes to get into the playoffs.
Absolutely. And look, Harrisonburg, like we have talked about the day that he needs to have versus Jeff Burton on this cut line. We've talked about it, he's been on the cut line every single week since Daytona. What a run. They unloaded and had really good speed practice. Qualifying did not go their way. The gift scoop right now for 6th position on the racetrack. 25 cars gained 5 stage points today. But look at the position he is in right now. Plus 20, that's the most. That would be the biggest gain he has had on the cut line all year long. So great job to Harris of that team.
Well, and you referenced the fact that he's racing against a Gibbs car. He made his 2nd career start in the Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs Racing right here at Iowa 2019 and finished in the 4th position. He was so good as a rookie at Gibbs. Won 4 races. Now driving for AM Racing after a stint at the Cup level and trying to put this team in the playoffs.
And I don't think you can say enough about Harrison as a person and what he's been through over the past 5 years of his career. He's had a lot of tremendous opportunities, but he's also had a lot of heartache. And he's had the highest highs and the lowest lows. And to be a part of building AM Racing, coming back in and being a part of hiring all those people, and then to have the success they had. I thought Dylan asked him a great question earlier about, he's just making the playoffs. Is that the expectation of his team? Like, are you excited just to be in the conversation? He's like, yeah. He's like, so just to be in that position is incredible. But what they're doing today, awesome.
The other thing I would say about him, and back to the lead here, I just want to pay this off on Harrison Burton as we watch Chastain and Taylor Gray 1-2. They've lost some parts and pieces throughout the year.
Right.
It's a product of their success, right?
They've been too successful.
Everyone's we'd love to have you over here. And so they've not only built a great team, but they've had to hit the curveball and replace people throughout the year. And they've done it quite successfully. On board here, Daniel Dye. This is the battle for 14th as he chases Ryan Sieg. Hocevar right in front of him. Hocevar up 11 spots since the restart. He's 13th on those fresher tires. Meanwhile, Sammy Smith, it's working out for him. He's 3rd right now, Dylan.
And you just saw him get up behind the 35 car. They got a little bit of trash from the grill, which it looked like he was able to get off of the race car there with that maneuver. But yeah, this has been a huge net gain for these guys. Survived 2 restarts on older tires. Now the danger is that they're going to have to pit earlier than everybody else. So the risk of that is you pit off sequence and then you get a yellow and it kind of hoses your strategy. So everything is going right for them on this plan for now. They're still going to survive the final pit stop, though. But a good day and a good strategy move from Philip Bell here to get the 8th in track position.
And Dylan, what I would say is it shows everyone, you get a late race caution, tires aren't going to be worth, the stop right there. So, and he still has 30 laps. We might get a caution before that if we do get green flag pit stops, but I just think the 8 car has shown everyone else that tires aren't going to be as important as track position.
90 to go. Chastain leads. Look at the guys 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and all the cars they passed today. Gray from the back. Sammy Smith from the back. Zilich has the penalty. He's driven from deep in the field. Jesse Love 5th. Saw the battle there for 6th. Mayer and Sawalich. Justin Bonsignor has made his way to the top 10. Attaboy there.
Awesome run for Justin. That's great to see because he's super talented race car driver, but you get these limited opportunities at this level and you have to capitalize on it. And he hasn't been able to do that yet, but this is a tremendous run for him. Happy to see him having a great day here in Iowa.
And for third,
I bet that car's handling a little better now. What do you think? I bet there's no F-bombs on the radio at this moment. Yeah, Connor Zilic has done a great job getting back up through here. See him trying to pass his teammate. And he's been able to make that bottom work. We saw him get by the 18 of Swallich a little bit ago. And his move has been down here in turns 3 and 4. Same thing right there. Drive in, be able to get to the throttle and slide up in front of those cars. I think that was maybe a teammate being a teammate, not racing too hard right there.
After winning the opening stage, Zilic had the loose wheel, had to come from deep in the field. He's back in the game, third behind Chastain and Gray.
Eddie's power buckets hold so much more than paint.
All right, 4/10 of a second lead for Ross Chastain over Taylor Gray. Connor Zilic 5 seconds back in third. 5.6 second deficit to Sammy Smith in fourth. Jesse Love 6.2 seconds back in fifth. Sam Mayer is in sixth place. He's 7.8 seconds off the lead. William Sawalich 9.2 seconds back in seventh. Harrison Burton in eighth is 9 seconds off the lead. 10.1 seconds back for Justin Bonsignor, rounding out the top 10. Quite a good run for him as he progressively gets better throughout the day. Sheldon Creed, 10.6 seconds off the lead, rounds out the top 10. So that is where we cycle. A little less than 90 laps to go. You're listening live on KRC. We'll take another quick break as our full Xfinity Series race coverage continues. Still a lot of racing to go yet. I mean, 84 laps on a short track doesn't necessarily tick away slowly, but there's quite a bit of time left in this race. Yeah, this is one of the longer Xfinity Series race lengths of the season. 5 cautions so far. One of which, in stage 3. We've had at least one caution for incident each stage. 34 laps spent under yellow. 8 lead changes. And we'll have 80 laps to go this time by. Chastain has led the most laps so far with 80 laps led. Connor Zilic, who won stage 1, 62 laps led for him. Chastain has led for a total of 83 laps now as it clicks away. And Chastain was the stage 2 winner. 1 lap led for Taylor Gray, 3 for Sammy Smith, 21 for Jesse Love, who started on the pole today. And those are the only 5 drivers to lead at least 1 lap in the race. Only driver to retire from the race was Dawson Cram in the early laps, and that's it. Still 28 cars on the lead lap to this point.
And the stars of beach volleyball all battle it out deep in the heart of Texas. Don't get a second moment of the ABP list. Don't it comes your way next. Only on the CW. It's a part of the great CW Sports Saturday. We're live in Newton, Iowa. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series with Jamie McMurray. I'm Adam Alexander. Studio reports from Carla Metz. Kim Coon, doing a great job on the pit lane. Ross Chastain leads. Taylor Gray is second. The rest of the top 5, Zilic, Smith, and Love.
And as you see Chastain catching all these lap cars, this either really can benefit a leader or crush them because they're going to race the leader a little bit harder than they are Taylor Gray behind him. This track is all about momentum. You see when guys lose just a little bit of momentum, how big of a run the guy behind them can get. The fact that they're lined up in front of the 9, 54 could capitalize on this. It's all just kind of about the timing of where you catch that car and where they go on the racetrack and how good your car is. Like you see the 9 really get squirrely on the bottom. It looks to me like the 9 car's super loose along the bottom of the racetrack.
This is such a big product of short track racing. You can run, but you can't hide. And what changes the game, even though you have an advantage, is you have to sort your way through the lap track. So I'm going around 53 at Joey Gase. He'll do double duty this weekend. Driver from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Going around the 70 at Thomas and Nunziata. And problems for the 45 of Mason Massey. Will this produce our 6th caution of the day?
And he got into the wall in turn 1. You got to wonder, those things didn't get to pit road. I thought for sure. Doesn't look like any debris came off that. Sometimes they'll throw the caution. Do you think there's
runner
brake rotor on the racetrack, but it looks to me like all the tires are up on that car.
That thing's bouncing around a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely gotten into the wall. You can see the Goodyear's gone off of that right front tire, but all the tires look aired up to me.
So Massey makes it back. We stay green.
Man, Sammy Smith needed that caution too.
He would have loved it.
Yeah, like we've heard he's going to need to pit the next 6 laps. So he either needs to have a caution come out immediately or let this thing go the rest of the way and let the cycle of the pit stops go through because it's getting really close to his window.
Yeah, the caution came out right around lap 9, and Sammy Smith came down at lap 92. They got their service, and then they stayed out at the end of stage 2 when everyone else made their scheduled pit stops. And Dylan's done a great job of talking about what that's created for them, but they've really done a nice job of executing, maintaining position.
God, it looks like something broke on that car. You saw it literally just went straight. It's almost like it got on the splitter. I know I talked about in practice and qualifying, that car, the ride quality looked terrible on that thing. It looked like something broke and the car just went straight. It was not a flat tire.
Talking about the strategy, and you see laps since these drivers were last on the pit lane, and Sammy Smith down there in the 4th position. It's been a long time for him, but what Brandon Jones had the speeding penalty and tried to take advantage playing strategy, and they're up to 15th right now, Kim.
Yeah, making moves, and we saw a handful of drivers come on that one caution, and that was kind of with 109 laps to go. Their fuel window, give or take, was about 100 laps, so they were outside that window, and I heard from a couple of teams that came down that stuff, but they thought they were about 6-ish laps short. So what are they telling Brandon now at this point? Here was a radio communication from the team to him.
We're right at the fuel window here, but we're going to go hard. Try to make up as many spots you can. They have to save a little way later in this run, but I think there'll still be more yellows.
So the 20 maybe a little bit better on the fuel than some of the other cars, like the Collie cars who thought they were about 6 short. But JD, would you be wanting to save at this point, or are you listening to your crew chief?
Well, I like the fact that they know this right away, and so it allows you to capitalize on the restart. And then if I'm Brandon, even when I get to clean air, if they're not saying save fuel, I'm probably going to lift just a little bit early, start putting a little bit in the bank. But Kim, the one that I'm looking at is some of the other guys that pitted at the same time. One of those being Eckes that he just passed, and then Hospar's in the best position. So you got to wonder, is there a few guys? I mean, Hospar has nothing to lose, right? There's no points for them. They're here to win the race. So if you know that immediately, you can start saving small amounts. But then you got to commit to it, right? If you see the leaders pit, you either have to commit to them and pit right away, or start saving a lot then when that cycle pits through.
I remind the last week at Indianapolis, and I just feel like that's a place where you can really save. What about here? I mean, this doesn't seem like the kind of place where you want to be trying to save fuel.
Yeah, I would think it's probably a little easier once it gets spread out. Obviously, on the restart, you're not going to be able to save fuel. But I mean, Adam, it's all about just lifting earlier, right? Maybe rolling the throttle just a little bit slower. 6 laps doesn't sound to me like it doesn't sound like a massive amount on a track of this size. 6 laps at Michigan, like I said, it's going to be doable to me if that's a real number. I know that sometimes these crew chiefs throw numbers out that wasn't really what it was. I think if that's a real number, that's very doable for Brandon Jones.
Good battle here, Bill. Jesse Love and Sam Mayer go at it.
Yeah, we thought Jesse Love was in contention to win this at one point in the game. It seems like the handling, though, great qualifying effort, but as this races went on, seems like the handling of that 2 cars just went away.
Yeah, he had a big tire issue here last year, hit the wall.
Oh, huge hit.
Outside the top 30. And it's interesting to me, short track racing has not been his thing. If you look at average finish at all the different types of racetracks, short track racing is really where they have lacked. Some of that maybe has just been execution, whatever speed the race car. Some of it's been bad luck, and that's what they had here a year ago. But he's solid today. As you said at one point, we thought he might be in position to win it. He's now 6th, and he'll pick up a spot. Is Sammy Smith going to make his scheduled green flag pit stop? We heard it was going to come just north of lap 180, and here he is, lap 184, coming down with 66 laps to go, and now he just hopes it stays green and everybody else has to pit under the green flag, Dylan.
Yeah, that's right. They went literally as long as they could. Lap 183 was the max they could go on fuel. They made it there. They'll come down in here and change 4 tires and fuel. The leaders are expected to pit. I heard around lap 210 as the earliest part of the window. They can go to as long as lap 625. So at minimum, they probably need about 25 to 30 laps here of no yellow. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. But routine service for the 8 here. We'll see how they cycle out.
It's a short track. We've had 5 cautions, 2 of those for stage end. You would think by the average, we're going to get more yellows. However, if you think about the way this day has played out, it's got a green flag feel. It could all come back to the driver from Johnston, Iowa.
And if it goes green, it's a huge benefit for him to pit early like that. He's going to be able to run a half to 3/4 of a second quicker than these guys when he leaves the pits based on how he hits traffic. So if it runs green, you're a hero. If not, not so good.
Just over 60 laps to go. Chastain, Gray, Zilich, Mayer, Love, your top 5 at Iowa Speedway on.
All right, so with 63 laps to go in the race, we'll take a quick running order rundown and then the race recap up to this point. Ross Chastain's our current race leader. Taylor Gray in second. Connor Zilich third. Sam Mayer fourth. Jesse Love in fifth. Sixth is William Sawalich. Harrison Burton in seventh. Carson Quapple eighth. Justin Bonsignor ninth. And Carson Hocevar rounds out the top 10. Daniel Dye in 11th, Sheldon Creed 12th, Brandon Jones 13th, Christian Eckes 14th, Nick Sanchez in 15th, Justin Allgaier 16th, Ryan Sieg 17th, 18th for Parker Retzlaff, Brennan Poole 19th, Dean Thompson 20th, Austin Dillon 21st, Matt DiBenedetto 22nd, Corey Day 23rd is the last car in the lead lap, Ryan Ellis first car lap down in 24th, and Jeremy Clements 25th, Kyle Sieg 26th, Josh Balicki 27th, Sammy Smith 28th, Anthony Alfredo 29th, Joey Gase in 30th, Garrett Smithley 31st, Blaine Perkins 32nd, Thomas Annunziata 33rd, Jeb Burton 34th, Patrick Emmerling 35th, Tyler Tomasi 36th, Mason Massey 37th, and then Dawson Cram 38th, again the only driver out of the race. 4/10 of a second lead right now for Chastain over Gray, and about 2.9 seconds back to the third place car of Connor Zilich, 8.2 seconds to fourth, Sam Mayer. So that is the top 4 in the running order. The intervals between them, and then obviously the full field running order rundown. 8 lead changes, 5 cautions, just over an hour and 45 minutes into this race. 34 laps spent under yellow with those 5 cautions. We've had 1 caution for incident in each stage, middle of stage 2, lap 2 in the race back in stage 1, and pretty early in stage 3. This is our longest green flag run of the day, which we would have eclipsed the previous longest, which would have been from the lap 2 caution to the lap 60 stage end. That ended up lasting about 53 laps. So we may see green flag pit stops because not a lot of teams came to pit road during the early caution of the stage because they were likely outside of the fuel window with over 100 laps to go. But here we are to this point. Those teams that did not pit are going to have to pit within the next 25 to 30 laps. We saw Sammy Smith pit, but he was on an alternating strategy. And there were some drivers at the back of the lead lap that did top off, but they're going to either try to stretch it to the end and save fuel, or they're going to be short. They go splash and go. They could save time there, but they're guaranteed they're going to have to pit to the end if they were not saving throughout the course of the entire green flag run to this point. It's kind of risky, though, because you don't want to save and give up more positions and more track position if a caution were to come out, because then it would just be hard to get it on the back side of that. But if it does go green, then you look like a genius saving fuel the entire run. So it's a tough strategy game to play. Taylor Gray's done a great job staying with Chastain here over the course of this green flag run. Kind of the same thing that Brandon Jones was doing back in the second stage when Chastain won stage 2. Jones was right there with him, only a few tenths off of the lead. And we haven't seen Brandon Jones because he had a pit road speeding penalty. So that set him at the back of the pack for the restart. He's recovered to 13th, cut the field in half from where he restarted in 26, up 13 spots. Allgaier up 12 spots from the restart after topping off on fuel. 14 for Carson Hocevar to get into the top 10. 2/10, 8 for Connor Zilich, who's only 2.2 seconds off of the race lead now. Since getting to third, though, pretty even lap times between himself and the 2 cars that are still ahead of him. And I believe Chastain has eclipsed 100 laps led. Yeah, 109 laps led for Chastain, now 111 as our leaderboard updates. So 111 laps led for Ross Chastain, 62 for Connor Zilisch, 21 for our pole sitter Jesse Love, 1 for Taylor Gray, and Sammy Smith led for 3 under a caution period because he stayed out of the pits at the end of stage 2. So those are the only 5 drivers to lead with those 8 lead changes. And we're down to 50 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway. $200 laps complete. Our stage winners today, by the way, Connor Zilisch won stage 1, his 5th stage win of the year, and stage 2 was won by the Cup regular Ross Chastain. 21% of you in the chat poll out of the, I believe it was 89 votes, if I remember correctly, took Chastain for the win. Taylor Gray, Dean Thompson now running side by side with one another. Thompson not for position, obviously a lap down. Connor Zilisch a little bit quicker than the leaders last lap, but now he's got a couple lap cars to catch that the leaders have already passed. Austin Dillon went a lap down again recently. He's one of those cars in front of the 88 of Zilisch. Matt DiBenedetto also one of the first cars a lap down. Maybe going to have to battle for the free pass spot with Austin Hill if they're on the same lap. Thompson, right ahead of Austin Dillon, would be in the free pass spot. They are all one lap down, the 26, 21, and 99 cars. Trouble. Daniel Dye is around. Caution flags out for the 6th time today, and that will end the longest green flag run of the race. 49 laps left at the time of the caution here today in Iowa.
So, hey, updating Sammy Smith. He had lost a lap in the pit stop exchange, but he stayed 1 lap down. So he'll be in a position here to do the wave around. And he's not going to be top 5 in the running order, but it's not going to be as bad as it could have been without the green flag cycle playing out. And you see Dye getting unbuckled here.
Yeah, he obviously knows.
That's now. I guess we're done.
Yeah, you hear the spotter say, "I guess we're done." The window net's down. I didn't. The damage didn't look that bad from the. Well, that looks a little worse.
As Paul Harvey would say, and now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Dye coming off a top 10 finish last week in Indianapolis and was top 10 here at Iowa one season ago and having a good day today.
And you see him driving underneath Josh Bilicki right here.
Oh,
you see it looks like a right front.
yeah, something broke.
Went down in the middle of the corner. Then he got clipped just a little bit by Josh, which made that ankle even worse. If you watch the hood right here, you're going to see it pop up.
Oh, yeah, that's a tire.
Heard that tire pop. That's the first tire issue we've had all day today. I know last year that was a huge issue. You see the frustration Daniel's face. That stinks for him to get that close to the end. But we haven't seen any of those issues today. But that clearly was a blown right front tire. It's not like it had a leak and went down. Like you could see it pop. You saw the cow flaps pop up. He's talking about on fire right there, trying to get somebody to put it out.
Dean Thompson, 19th. He's the first car 1 lap down. He'll get the free pass here. And it's going to be some time before they open pit road because you saw Dye slide back down across the racetrack and all this cleanup and everything happening, as you see now right there at the entrance of pit road. So it'll be some time before these drivers can make pit stops. I'm curious, too, for those drivers that had made their pit stop at lap 141. And, Kim's been giving us reports on Brandon Jones and him thinking he can save. Hocevar on that strategy, Eckes on that strategy. Now you get the caution. That's going to help you on fuel. But, where are you on tires and what do you do in this situation?
Yeah, and I mean, Adam, we saw Sammy Smith stay out on 40-lap tires earlier. And in all honesty, he ran better staying out on those tires with the track position than he did earlier in the race. So I think you can take a chance right here. I mean, they're going to have 60 laps on their tires, which clearly is more, but fall off hasn't been massive. It seems like they refired off a little better. And I think if you've got to win in the bank, or if you're in the position of the 11 car, well, why not take a chance?
Here's the other thing I would say. When you pitted at lap 141, you rolled the dice there knowing this isn't our day. We got to do something to get out of bounds. It's kind of like you've made it, let's lay in it, and this caution should help you do what you need to do in regard to fuel. And now, we're getting a report here on the radio that Carson Hocevar could be coming here and taking tires. And the one thing I would say about Hocevar is even though they made that pit stop, they have gained some ground. They were the best of those in the running order. He's 10th right now that pitted at lap 141. So,
and that decision, right, as we sit here and try to make those decisions for them, you got to know that he's the only one that knows how that car feels. And if the balance of that car is not where he needs it, it's like, well, yeah, I could stay out, but I'm either so tight or so loose, like I'm not going to be able to hang on. And so that changes your process, your decision-making process of what you think is going to be best for your day. And clearly they think that tires are going to make a bigger difference for them. It's just, to me, watching Sammy Smith stay out, if you're somebody that's going to run 15th or 18th today and you can stay out right here and with 40 laps to go, be able to start up front, I think it's worth taking a gamble.
Here's the other thing I would say. You mentioned getting a restart probably right around 40 laps to go. Now you start feeling like, oh my gosh, you know what? We're going to get a run of cautions because everyone's going to get aggressive on these restarts
now.
And that will help you. Every 2, 3, 5, 7 laps under caution means that you're maintaining that position and makes your life that much easier if you're one of those that plays the game and stays out and tries to protect your position.
Yeah, I can't imagine knowing how vulnerable those cars are on the bottom, how loose they get being on the inside. And knowing that this is going to be the most important restart so far of the race, that we're not going to have more than one guy get loose underneath somebody and wipe him out.
Taylor Gray, second right now, Dylan.
Yeah, and some good lighthearted fun down here in the pit box. I just checked in with Jason Ratcliffe, who you see there on the left side of the screen, and said, what kind of changes are you going to make here? And he just smiled and said, we've got the Harry Hyde Secret Stagger Special tires ready to go here for this final pit stop. So there is some discussion down here of whether guys are going to take 2 or 4. So maybe that's Ratcliffe's secret, but that's going to be a big decision for some teams down here on this last stop.
I love that he's that lighthearted because my one regret in racing is that I didn't enjoy it more. In the moment, have fun like that and enjoy it. I always took everything so serious. So I think that's great. Jason can have a little fun.
But you and I've known him for a long time, and you worked with him.
It wasn't always that way.
For 20 years. I was going to say, from the seat that I sit in, he's the same guy he's always been. Right. Hearing you talk, maybe Jason's doing business a little different now than he did, 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah. Great guy. Been around a long time, had a lot of wins, won with a lot of different drivers. I'm sure it'd mean the world to him to get Taylor Gray's first Xfinity Series win today.
Well, and he just does such a great job of seeing the big picture. And I think, everyone, and we experience it every week we go in the garage. It's hard to do that in this sport. You're so much about the here and the now and what's next and taking what's right in front of you. And Jason Ratcliffe's such a great leader because he can see it from 10,000 feet and understand what you need to do to best set you up for success down the road. This stop's going to be huge. And I think about the hiccups we've had today. And in particular, 88 had the loose wheel. And they want to give it back here and put him in position.
That's right where I was going at him. I was thinking, you put us behind at the beginning. You got a chance to redeem yourself right here and put us out in the front.
It's going to be Chastain, Gray, Zilich, Mayer, and Love, the top 5. Pit stops coming with 42 to go. Progressive pit road is open. Big stops here, Kim.
Yeah, and Chastain here to be that 7 different JRM driver to win in 2025. So just managing the tightness in the corner. Corey Shea, the crew chief, said, we'll get you turning a little bit better with an air pressure adjustment. Looks a little slow on that right side. More pressure, good your tires, Sunoco fuel. You see the 88 in front of Zilich in the middle. 3 in tight center, but very manageable. No major adjustments still in.
Report for Taylor Gray on the handling of his race car said it was edgy in, tight in the center, and 3 off. No changes other than the 4 set of tires or 4 tires that we just talked about. Here's the race off pit road. Same Mayer as well on the right of the screen. He said that he was too tight. They're going to change 4 tires and stay on offense as much as they can.
Long stop for the 54. All feedback cars come. Jones and Allgaier are playing games. They pick up a bunch of positions. Chastain, the best of those that takes 4. Zilich comes out behind him. And we were just celebrating the success for Taylor Gray and Jason Ratcliffe.
and now they're going to be behind again. Yeah, heartbreak. You saw, looked like that left rear. It's so frustrating. See the crew guys all upset. They wanted as much as anybody. Let's take a look right here. A couple of the lug nuts had fallen off. He was having to put those back on. It's frustrating. Yeah, not what the 54 car needed, but I like what you talked about there with Allgaier and Jones shaking it up a little bit at him. It's gonna be fun to see what these guys can do. They're in a great position. Got track position and 2 tires. Yep. It's a great position for those guys to be in, and enough fuel.
And I would say this, I mean, Jones had such a good race car early in this race. They just lost all the track position when he had the speeding penalty. Allgaier has not had as good a car today. We don't know what track position will do for him, but this could be enormous for Brandon Jones.
Well, and you got to wonder about the choose now, too. Mike Chastain's in third. Like, where does he get to choose? Does he have to end up, if the first 2 take the outside, do you then go to the inside? Like Chastain kind of had the race under control, not so much anymore.
Let's look at the golden moment presented by Golden Corral, and it is that race off pit road. You know, we said it. If you're not going to win a race, you're not positioned. You got to do something, get out of balance. That's what Jones did. That's what Allgaier did. And the pit stop they made earlier set them up to play strategy here. We'll see what the payoff is. Second best on tires, Connor Zilic, who was so good early in this race. We got a very interesting finish coming here. Going to get the restart inside of 40 laps to go. Sammy Smith, by the way, who was top 5, takes the wave around. And it looks like he's going to be in the 22nd position on the lead lap here.
They needed a lot of things to go their way to make that work out. And I mean, honestly, they're within about 6 or 7 laps of people starting to come down pit road. But I mean, it's just the way it is, right? I mean, you can take a little bit of a chance. I thought they put themselves in a really good position if the caution doesn't come out. But unfortunately, I mean, we hadn't seen a blown tire all day long. It looked like we were going to see a cycle of green flag pit stops. Sammy's loss is the win, you see, of Brandon Jones and Justin Allgaier, who have been on a little alternate strategy. I can't wait to see. Got to think Allgaier is going to take the outside behind Brandon Jones to put himself in the right position. That Chastain's going to have a decision.
Oh, wow. How about both Chastain and Zilic go to the outside?
Yeah, I'm going to think that Chastain got a gift right there with Justin going to the inside and put him in a great position on the outside.
Here's Kim.
Yeah, Daniel Dye had a good day going before a right front tire go. What happened? Did you get any feedback from the car before the issue?
Just went just like that. So it really popped as fast as Xfinity Mobile. So just really good day, fast race car all day. Lost a little bit of track position. There it is. 3, 2, 1, and there she goes. So yeah, I mean really good car all day. Made it better. Lost track position. It was getting it back, running 11th, get ready to pass for 10th, and there it went. So days like today really suck when you were running good like that. This puts us in a must-win for the rest of the year. So needed a good day today to not have to win, and now we do.
I think about Colic. I think about.
All right, well, here we go. On to the next restart. Allgaier inside of row 1. Brandon Jones on the outside. This is going to get interesting. These guys went fuel only. They won the race out of the pits respectively as a result of that happening, and now it's time for them to try to take control of things late. Green flag is in the air. Good launch on the inside of row 1. Good launch on the outside. Couple cars stacking up just behind. Allgaier with the nose out in front. And Allgaier going to go a bit wide, but not as wide as the 20 of Brandon Jones, who is outside 3 wide, and off the exit of turn 2, he funnels backwards. Jesse Love finds himself to the inside of Allgaier for the lead, and Jesse Love is cleared through 3 and 4. Trying to get this heat cycle in the tires, maybe help the 20 and the 7 for the long haul, but Jesse Love, the pole sitter, back out in front again, and Sam Mayer has been forward and backwards quite a bit in this race. Oh, we've got problems. Allgaier's around. He got clipped by the 9 of Chastain, who I believe had help from Connor Zilic. The 7 was the only one that spun, though. The 9 able to save it up on the outer groove. No damage for Allgaier, but he's definitely going to be coming to pit road, and he's going to be taking tires now. it just didn't seem like the 60 lap older tires were holding on very well for the 7 or the 20 there. And Connor Zilic washes a bit wide.
Loose.
Into Chastain.
Yeah. Today. 3
Into the
junior
7.
motorsports cars right there. Zilic gets loose, gets into the 9, who put it 3 wide, and then the 7's just the victim of all that. Oh, Connor. And they're lucky it didn't get multiple cars in that action. There'll be some frustration. There's no doubt Monday at the shop.
Well,
Nothing intentional there, but you know, when it's your teammate, it's the worst.
You just start thinking regular season championship and the difference here. I mean, Allgaier goes in the wrong direction. Zilic able to drive through. Zilic got the 10 stage points earlier, and we got to have a major change at the front when you talk about the regular season crown on the line and only 4 races to go after today. So we'll take a break. Just over 30 to go. Jesse Love leading in Iowa.
Caution out again with 35 laps left. Jesse Love leads the race. Sam Mayer is now in second. Ross Chastain third. Connor Zilic fourth. Brandon Jones rounds out the new top 5 following the last restart. So Love, who had only led 21 laps after starting on the pole today, all day long, most of which in that first stage, is now out in front for the third different time. Definitely his best restart of the day. He was on the inside of road 2, and Chastain just got stuck up on the outside. Zilic was right there with him. Then they ended up side by side with one another, and obviously the incident soon after. Zilic overdriving the corner entry, 3 wide. Gets into Chastain. Chastain pinballs into the 7 of Allgaier to his outside. Allgaier, innocent bystander that kind of goes around after he was already bleeding positions because of staying with the fuel-only strategy during the last pit stops. Federico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Shout out to everybody watching. We've got over 120 of you concurrently in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We did get to our goal of 50 likes. I think we're actually up over 62 right now. We could easily get 100 if everybody watching right now hits that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. Cup, Xfinity, truck races. Obviously, trucks off this week. They'll be back in action again next week at Watkins Glen. We'll have a triple header Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Cup practice and qualifying every week on the channel. It's our second live commentary stream of the day. We had that earlier. Chase Briscoe on the pole again for tomorrow's race. And our coverage for that will be at 3 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race show. Sam Mayer's had a lot of pace in this race and hasn't been able to lead yet. And now he's going to get his choice on whether or not he wants the inside of row 1 or the outside of row 2. I almost feel like the outside of row 2 is probably the best position to be in to get to second place. But you're not going to have any sort of a shot to get to the lead. Or in the event like what Chastain did that last restart outside of row 2, you kind of get boxed in from the cars in front of you, and then you might actually lose a spot. Wouldn't want to be inside. I'd rather have outside row 2 than inside of row 2. But if you're trying to go for a win on a late race restart in a situation we're in right now with about 30 to go by the time we get things rolling again, might be something you'd want to consider.
Today, NASCAR Xfinity Series racing at Iowa Speedway, 22nd time we've been to this place, and this beautiful image, courtesy of the Lucas Oil helicopter. Nice crowd on hand. It's packed. I mean, they were out last night for the ARCA race. Graduated up a little bit today, close to a sellout crowd for the Cup race tomorrow. That's a great region of the country.
They love the racing.
An entertaining afternoon. Mentioned 7th caution of today. It comes on the restart here.
Yeah, see, Jesse Love, that's the part we're going to pay attention to. On the inside as well, that outside, Brandon Jones did not get going. You see right here, Chastain tried to force it 3 wide. That whole lane gets checked up. I was shocked at how much better the 4 tires fired off than 2. You see Jesse sails it off down into turn 3. We see that's in a great passing zone today, driving in there and sliding up in front of him.
Here's 2 radio Jesse Love on getting the lead last restart.
I don't know. No grip at the here. We'll take it off. Well, you got all the grip in the world now because you're leader. So figure out how to get it done here, son. You got it.
That's how you fire a driver up right there.
Act like leaders.
I feel like Danny's like his stepdad or something up there. You know what I mean? Like, it's so good.
He just doesn't hold back, you know?
I know. Yeah, he works his tail off though, and that's where the passion comes from. All those guys at RCR, they're all so passionate. We got to spend some time up there, RC on top of the trailer. Guy has seen it all.
Oh, he has. Been so successful, a staple in this sport for so many years. One of my favorite things doing these broadcasts is when he pops up on the radio.
Right.
Doesn't say a lot, but when he speaks, it's powerful.
Absolutely.
And you know, see Danny Stockman, I just think about what he did with Austin Dillon a number of years ago, leading him to Rookie of the Year. The next year, the championship, trying to do that with Love. Love goes outside, Mayer inside here.
Yeah, and I think it's just the aggression level. We saw, you know, the lead get on the bottom of the last restart. I think this will be a little more of a challenge for Sam, but he's been able to make the bottom work. I've seen him choose the bottom on a lot of these, and interestingly enough, Zilich takes the bottom as well. So these guys know, like, the gloves are off at this point in this, and everyone's going to sail it off in the corner and hope it sticks. It'll be fun to watch these guys try to do this as clean as possible.
Well, I don't know about as clean as
One
possible.
of the year trying to go back to back here. It'd be the first win for Ford in 2025. So Wallach needs to win to make the playoffs. He's up there in the front 3 rows. What a comeback it would be for Brandon Jones. Remember, he's on 2 tires. Yeah, that last pit stop, the game, the track was.
All right, so we're on to exactly 30 laps to go on the restart. Jesse Love and Sam Mayer for the front row. Again, Love on the outside. Inside will be Mayer. Green flag back in the air. Jesse Love has been on the outside of row 1 a couple of times already today, so a little bit of experience. Chastain gave him a nice push into that first turn. Love transitions that perfectly up off the exit of turn 2. He's clear. I guess maybe getting into the back of Sawalich in the middle of the pack. Stacking those 2 cars up. They both got passed by cars on the outside. Connor Zilich back to the inside of Chastain again. Not going to be able to take that spot over. Brandon Jones still on those older tires, settling strong in 5th. Mostly single file through most of those top 10 positions. We got some smoke at the back of the pack. Matt DiBenedetto's got some heavy damage to the nose of his race car. He goes up the racetrack, and the caution's going to be out again. Oh, no caution yet. Jesse Love goes wide. Oh, we got a few cars going wide. I think there's oil on the race. There's got to be oil on the racetrack. There was like 3 or 4 cars that went wide there. Brandon Jones goes for a spin, and then the caution comes out. Yeah, I think there's some fluids laid down on the track from the 99 from the lap before.
DiBenedetto coming off that top 12 run last weekend ending, limps it back to pit road. Caution number 8, and it is significant.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, you're going to hope that all those spotters had seen that and they're like, hey, be careful, knowing like what's going to happen there. But you saw some of those guys maybe a little lower. It was a narrow path. We'll see real quick what happened to Matt getting down into turn 1. Oh, it's so weird. It's like, well, I honestly don't know what happened right there. It's like they started to check up. I don't know if he was mad at the 17. Their ankle of this and see. Yeah, it's already happened right there. I mean, honestly, it looked to me like he was trying to wreck the 17. It went wrong. Well, the 9 got into the oil along with the 20 right here. The 20 spun, but we saw the 9 go way up the racetrack. I think that oil was a little higher on the track, and that's where they were running on the track.
On board Dean Thompson.
I think he's just trying to get slowed down there. Knows the 20 spinning out way up ahead of him, and the caution's going to come out. Interesting to get Matt's perspective of if they just checked up in front of him and that's where the contact came from, but it almost looked like that contact continued on around the corner. So I don't know if he was frustrated or if it's just from everybody checking up and that was big contact though for on the straightaway.
You know, you and I were just talking about how this thing could play out. And we said, you get a caution inside of 40 laps to go and you start stacking restarts, and it's just going to be more and more cautions because everybody's running tight. You see the finish line, you get aggressive, there's contact, and it changes everything. And all of it has produced the 41 being back in the race lead. He got around Jesse Love. Here is 2 radio.
There's oil all over the racetrack, bud. It's pretty sure it's for. They get rust through it. Point right. Okay.
Yeah, I think Danny's trying to figure out, did we get passed because of the oil, or is that what sent us up the track? It's it's so hard to see that, Adam, inside the car. I mean, there are times when it's a significant amount of oil and it's clear, but it looks to me like that was just kind of a light dusting because you didn't see all the cars get into it, and you actually couldn't see the path of that on the asphalt.
Going to get a restart here. Right around 20 laps to go. Brandon Jones among those drivers negatively impacted by the oil on track. Sam Mayer leads in Iowa.
Yeah, that was definitely a late trigger problem there for NASCAR. I mean, they should have threw the caution right when DiBenedetto was slow down the backstretch. Huge hole in the nose. That was right as he was getting into turn 1. So with the caution coming out and the fact that I did not get the diecast showing out during stage 2, here it is now. I've got a Dale Earnhardt Jr. Busch Series diecast. A little bit of a throwback here on the channel from the 2002 season. Number 3 Oreo Chevrolet, and I figured I'd show this one off because, of course, Dale Jr. Junior Motorsports, they got their 100th win last weekend for the Xfinity Series, so I'd show off a Dale Jr. diecast this week. And here it is. I always loved the Oreo schemes over the years. The Ritz scheme is always pretty good. And this one, a favorite. Not too many times where Dale Jr. got to run the 3 car in his career. I mean, more so in the Busch Series, obviously. All of which in the Busch Series. But after his championship winning days in the late 90s, not as much. But 2002 is where this diecast comes in. Super Speedways. I hiccuped. Yeah, definitely a slow race pace now. Xfinity Series starting to show their true colors on the short tracks. I was afraid of this. I mentioned earlier, and we went a long time into stage 3 without any cautions, and we only had 5 yellows for the longest time, but we tend to get double-digit caution counts on these short tracks for the Xfinity Series. We don't really see a lot of short tracks on this schedule like we do for Truck and Cup, but when they do, it can get out of hand, and here we are. Hasn't gotten out of hand yet, but it could be getting there. 3 cautions back to back to back. Obviously, the Daniel Dye right front tire failure. I mean, that's what kind of triggered the first yellow on the long green flag run. That's one thing. Just over aggressive mistakes on the last 2 caused for other issues.
Saturday at the Glen in New York. It's Connor Zilic. He's third. Let's get a report there. Here's Carla.
Yeah, Adam, I want to go back to last week a little bit. We saw some frustration in stage 2 with Connor Zilic, but you think back to last week, you know you're going fast on the track when one of your win stickers flies off during the race. Connor Zilic said halfway through the race at Indy, he looked in his rear view mirror and saw one had flown back onto his spoiler, said he went back Monday to see if anyone actually got a photo of it, and he pointed it out to everybody on X this week. Now, his engineer did move it back in victory lane, but Connor lobbying this week that the winning diecast better include that fun detail. What do you think, Adam?
I think it belongs. And I saw that post on social media, and a great catch and a really cool photo. And I guess when your win stickers are blowing off and you look above the door and it still looks like you've won a lot, I mean, it makes a statement on what kind of season you're having. Should be 5 of them up there if you're keeping track at home.
There's a lot of guys that wish they had Connor's. They have Connor's problems.
Somebody go steal it off the spoiler and put it on their car.
At 19, I wish I'd had those issues.
Let's go to Kim.
Yeah, Connor Zilic looking for the 4th win in a row. A late race restart. Crew Chief Marty Lindley, how would you rank your driver on restarts?
I wouldn't bet against him, that's for sure. You know, long day, had some issues on pit road and was able to recover from it. And, hey, we got into I don't know that we really got in. Our team made it just a racing deal, and one was going for the middle, and Connor was in the bottom, and it just caused hated for the 7 car. But you just want to thank everybody at Junior Motorsports, and hopefully Connor can get it done right here.
All right, good luck. Not only are they looking for their 4th win, outside of that, it would be the 10th straight top 5 for this 88 team.
Check Kim, the race leading 41 team of Sam Mayer looking for their first win of the year. Jason Trincheri is the shot caller here. Okay, you've got the 2 and the 88 behind you. They've been pretty good today, but where do you feel like you guys are better?
I think we've been pretty good all day, too. We just haven't really had the track position. Even back in traffic, we had pretty decent lap times. This Audible Ford Mustang's been pretty fast. We haven't really touched it all day. Even in practice, I had good speed. So Sam likes his place. Hopefully we can close it out.
We've got a pretty good look at this cleanup process underway right here. Does that influence what lane you choose on this restart, or how does that look?
Yeah, I think he's going to feel it out before we make the choose on that lap, just to kind of see. I didn't know there was a beach in Iowa, but it's down here in turn 1.
And I've got a good view of it here at the last pit stall at pit exit. So lots of variables and things to consider here for the 41 team if they were to get their first win of the year.
And Dylan can go to the beach when the race is over today, according to.
I don't know about Iowa beaches. I'm gonna let you have
Iowa Beach.
Last year, Sam Mayer driving for Junior Motorsports took him some time to get there, but he worked on him. Eventually drives by Riley Herbst, and he's able to pull it off here in the Heartland.
Yeah, and if you're watching at home, I mean, the thing that sticks out to me is how flat asphalt is in the corner. Like, it has really made a huge transition from last year. I mean, obviously the winners have really weathered that. I would be shocked if we don't see Sam take the outside, though. I just can't imagine if you're the leader, you don't take that preferred lane. We'll see how much, oil dry is left. They normally do a really good job of getting that cleaned up. Those, they put the oil dry down, then they do a little bit of sweep on it, and then they'll use these jet dryers to blow it off. And it's normally pretty remarkable how clean they can get it.
Top 5 prior to the choose: Mayer, Lund, Zilich, Quapple, and Harrison Burton trying to finish off a great day at Iowa.
What if I told
lengthy clean? Oh, I double muted it and then it unmuted it. All right, lengthy cleanup, obviously, with the spill on the racetrack with all the oil. So, less laps and Sam Mayer is going to have to hold on to try to get his first win of the season. Strong competitors, though, just behind him. Ross Chastain on that last restart lost a few spots. He's now back to 6th. He was battling with Connor Zilich for 3rd there initially, but then as he went through the oil as the caution was coming out, he lost a couple more spots. Harrison Burton up into the top 5 for the first time today. We'll see if the AM Racing Ford can hold on for a good finish. Carson Quapple, who we haven't really talked about much this season since the very early going of the year, was competing for wins in his part-time efforts in the 88 last season along with Zilich. Zilich gets the 88 ride, Quapple full-time to the 1, which is, of course, Sam Mayer's former team. Looked like he was going to break through to a victory sometime soon early in the season, but then all of a sudden we get into the middle portion of the year and it's kind of a slowdown point for them. Breath of fresh air to see that team back in the top 5. See if they can close it out, though. That was a lot of the problem when they did have good speed early in the season, was getting to the end of some of these races.
They're in Iowa to tap and choose. Mayer goes outside, Love inside, and outside row 2, Connor Zilich just hanging around, trying to get his 4th win in a row.
Yeah, and if you're wondering at home who's good on restarts, Connor Zilich so far this year has been the best on restarts. But the best guy on restarts today is the guy on the front row, Sam Mayer in the 41.
And Harrison Burton goes on that inside row.
Yeah, Mayer's gained so many positions on restarts because of how many positions he's lost on pit row, but he has carried that team on his back this afternoon and trying to close things out in the late going. Jesse Love on the inside of row 1. It looked like there was a little bit of contact well before getting into the restart zone. The 41 of the 2 just trying to scrub their tires clean. Mayer launches late in the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 17 laps to go at Iowa. Not a great launch for Jesse Love. He spun his tires on the restart. Zilich is going to get to his outside into the first turn. Love is going to bounce into the side of the 88, and that opens up for the 25 of Harrison Burton to the bottom. Oh, what an upset this could be if Harrison Burton can get up into the top couple positions, but he's stuck on the inside, and if he can't complete a pass, he may be going backwards. Zilich up out of the groove off turn 4. It looked like his right side tires were above the grip strip. He loses several positions. Jesse Love was able to hold on for second. Chastain back into fourth again. Zilich up the racetrack a second time. The right sides were up above the grip strip. And Harrison Burton dive bombs into 1 and 2 underneath Jesse Love. Being extra aggressive going for second place. He's not going to settle for third. Can't quite stay along with him on the front stretch, and Chastain closes close behind. Sam Mayer getting out ahead of these two cars battling behind him because of the battle itself. One second lead already for Mayer. Jesse Love's having a really hard time trying to hold this 25 car back. When they're single file, they're both pulling away from Chastain, but the moment that Burton tries to make these passes and gets alongside of Love, not able to really keep the 9 from closing in. Burton's all over the back of the 2. You can tell it's getting Love a bit aero loose, but he's doing a great job holding on to his race car. Holding a steady wheel, all things considered. Burton undercuts second half of turns 1 and 2. Hangs on the left rear corner panel. Side draft down the back straightaway. A pull to the bottom of the track again for Burton. Nose to nose through the center of 3 and 4 as they still battle on for second, and he can't hang on there either. So, a couple of failed pass attempts now for Harrison Burton on Jesse Love. Chastain closes to within a car length and a half or so behind the 25. Zilich trying to get back by Carson Hocevar for 5th place, and it looks like he's side by side. He bumped fenders just a little bit off the exit of turn 2. Chastain now closer to the back of the 25 than the 25 is to the 2. 11 laps to go. 1.6 second lead for Mayer. Zilich throws it off into 1 and 2. A little bit of a slide job, if you will, and he is able to clear high on the 11 for 5th. Chastain has the fastest lap of the race, by the way. Lap 150 at 24.409, if you're wondering where that bonus point is looking like it's going to go to. With 10 laps to go. A little bit of a tire rub on the 48 of Nick Sanchez after getting bounced off the 26. Being 3 wide middle, then slammed into the right side door of the 17. A lot of space, and then by the exit of the corner, ran out of room. And the 26 is actually on the pit road, so it looks like his tire rub might have been a little bit worse than that of the 2 cars that were also contacted with him. Sanchez stays out on the racetrack. All those lost pit stops for Taylor Gray during the last stop of the day. He's only back up to 19th. You consider that Brandon Jones at one point was in second and had the speeding penalty, went to the back. Strategy didn't go their way to try to find a way to get track position back, and then Taylor Gray and that team having a slow pit stop, man. JGR second and third. They were in position where they could have maybe been where Sam Mayer's at right now, in the lead, stealing one on a late race restarter, a few of them, but didn't give themselves the opportunity for these late race restarts to be in those front couple of rows anymore. Ross Chastain will get by Harrison Burton for third. We'll see if Burton can hang on for a top 5, 6.5 laps to go. Mayer's lead still 1.6 seconds over Love. Once he got out to that 1.6 to 1.7 second lead, pretty much matching lap times with that of Love behind him. And vice versa, where Love is just not able to consistently put away a good chunk of lap time faster than the leader. Mayer's got nothing but clean air in front of him for the most part. He just lapped the 35 to the outside, but Lapper was well out of his way. Didn't cost him any time. 5 laps to go here at Iowa for Sam Mayer. He's won at the Xfinity Series level a handful of times, but he has never won with a team other than Junior Motorsports. His first year with Haas Automation after the rebrand because of the shutdown of the SHR team. They've lost a lot of members to both the Cup and Xfinity Series programs, and a lot of their best team members went to other race teams around the garage area. But with whatever they have left, they have scraped together a pretty solid season and really starting to come on strong through the summer months. He's third in the regular season standings. He was about 100 back of Justin Allgaier for that regular season title fight. Came into today minus 48, and he's 3 laps away from getting to the checkered flag. Connor Zilic trying to run down Harrison Burton for 4th. Burton trying to hang on for all the points he can. Came in minus 10 points to his cousin Jeb Burton on that final playoff spot. And where the cut line was showing as the race runs on right now. Jeb Burton's had an abysmal day, but Burton top 10, 8th in both stage 1 and stage 2, and here he is top 5 late. 2 laps left for Sam Mayer. Trying to get to the white flag at the very least. Zilic slips to the inside of Burton up off the exit of turn 2. Side draft by Zilic. He'll pull away, try to make the pass. Through turns 1 and 2, Zilic is going to be clear. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Sam Mayer. Still well out ahead of the pack. Caution flag is out as the 14 went for a spin off of turn 2. Not that far in front of the leaders, but out of the way. So the race is going to end under yellow with the caution flag coming out. First win of 2025 for Sam Mayer in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Didn't lead many of them, but he was able to lead the most important laps down the stretch. Each of the last 28. Timed out not 1 but 2 restarts late. 1 to get to the lead, 1 to hold on to it, and set sail. Margin of victory again going to be under caution because of the yellow flag in the last lap, but no overtime. We do finish under the regulation length of 250 laps today around this short track at Iowa Speedway. 2 hours, 29 minutes, 24 seconds total time on the race. 9 cautions with the last one on the final lap. 13 lead changes. 60 laps out of the 250 spent under yellow in this one. It's going to lock him up into the playoffs. He'll be the 8th different Xfinity Series regular to get a win this season. Counting the Cup regulars who have had a win so far this year, the 4 of them, that is now the 12th different driver to win at the Xfinity Series level in 2025. So Mayer with the win, Jesse Love 2nd, Ross Chastain 3rd, Connor Zilic 4th, Harrison Burton rounds out the top 5 and 5th. 6th place for Carson Hocevar, Sheldon Creed 7th, Ryan Sieg 8th. Great comeback for him after a spin on lap 2 to get a top 10. Carson Kvapil 9th, Christian Eckes in 10th, and William Sawalich 11th, Justin Bonsignor 12th. Parker Retzlaff, solid run for JD Motorsports in 13th. Austin Dillon came back after that early spin as well into 14th. Sammy Smith 15th, Justin Allgaier 16th, Taylor Gray 17th, Kyle Sieg 18th, Nick Sanchez 19th, Brennan Poole in 20th. 21st for Josh Malicki, Jeremy Clements 22nd, Brandon Jones 23rd was the last car to finish on the lead lap. 24th for Corey Day, Ryan Ells 25th, Anthony Alfredo 26th, Joey Gase 27th, Blaine Perkins 28th, Jeb Burton 29th, Patrick Emmerling in 30th, Dean Thompson 31st, Thomas Annunziata 32nd, Garrett Smithley 33rd, Tyler Tomasi 34th, Matt DiBenedetto 35th, Daniel Dye 36th, Mason Massey 37th, Dawson Cramp 38th. We had 4 DNFs in tonight's race in total. I mentioned that there were 28 laps led for Sam Mayer. Ross Chastain, who won Stage 2 today, actually led 120 of the 250 laps, the most in the race. Zilic, who won Stage 1, led for 62 laps. 31 for Jesse Love from the pole. A few other drivers to lead. 3 for Sammy Smith, 2 for Taylor Gray, 1 for Justin Allgaier, and 3 for Brandon Jones are all the drivers who led in this one. Here is your race winner on the front stretch at Iowa Speedway, Sam Mayer.
I feel like I hear Top Gun music in the background right there, right?
Down to Kim Coon.
Yeah, Sam Mayer does the Superman, defends his win here at Iowa from last year, but he does it this year with a different team, notching the first win for Haas Factory team, and it comes at the perfect time. They have been knocking on the door of a win 3 times, found themselves runner-up, including last weekend at Indy. We knew the disappointment finishing 2nd to Connor Zilic last weekend, but man, how important was this win for you and the team?
I mean, this one's everything right here. This one's for all the guys here at Audubell. There's a lot of people here in the stands for for the Audible people, so it's really cool to get a win in front of them. First win for Oz Factory team. That's awesome. This car was as fast as Xfinity Mobile all day long. I tried to botch it on pit road, but we didn't. I can't believe it. This is one of the most special ones I have. These guys, they love me to death. I love them to death, and we're just some good old boys trying to go racing. So this one feels great.
Let's talk about that mistake on pit road. You said you almost botched it. We saw you slide through the pit stall, almost clipped one of your guys. How did you let that not derail your day? How did you maintain your focus?
I mean, I simply knew that this car could easily come back through the field, no problem. So, huge shout out to the guy. This is awesome. I'm so excited about this one.
Go celebrate. That is Sam Mayer, a winner for the second straight year here at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, he's been the best in points without a win since all the way back at Las Vegas. And you said,
Yeah, he's been top 2, top 3 in points almost all year. Finally breaks through. Consistency pans out at some point. And that has been the case for Sam Mayer. Quick wrap-up of the post-race show here tonight. They're going to commercial anyway. You got to hear from the race winner. We went through the race statistics and, of course, the finishing results. Congratulations to Sam Mayer getting his first Xfinity win of the season as he wins the HyVee Perks 250 at Iowa. Hope to see you back and better than ever again tomorrow afternoon. I know I'll be back. 3 p.m. Eastern will be our start time for live commentary of the NASCAR Cup race at Iowa, the Iowa Corn 350. And we will also be live for NASCAR 08 in the early afternoon, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, NASCAR 08 again, Atlanta truck race there. So doubleheader on the channel tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, and enjoy the rest of your evening.